Dun, 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 dun. Bum, bum, bum. It's the Powerpuff Girls. Powerpuff! Hello! Hi, William Afton. Hi, Juice. Hi, Joey. Hi, Maddie. Hi, Warlock. Hi, Apollo. Hi, Phil. Job interview review. I decided. Oh, hi! Monty! Monty G. Monty G. Hello, welcome in. Are you the Monty that I know? Or are you a different Monty? Hello, welcome! Check out Monty there. Gender fluid drag with ADHD and a bajillion hobbies. It is you! Wow! Guys, this is Monty. I know them. Monty Ray, Monty Ray. What were you up to? Were you drawing? You were playing Paralyzed. Oh, wait, how is it? I was asking people when it came out, but they had only been playing for like 2 hours. So I'm guessing that it's you've had it for maybe a little bit longer. The Band-Aid Brigade. I watched 2 hours of Paralyzed. No, then come home. Of content character creator. Oh, character creator. Okay, I didn't scroll down all the way. I'm silly Billy. Gonna have to watch a VOD now. Bye-bye then! Mwah! It's still pretty buggy, but fun. That's what I was... From what I could tell when I was watching people play, it was quite glitchy, like stuttery almost. But I couldn't tell if it was that person's, like, stream itself or not, but... I'm thinking that it's quite... There's an infinite money glitch? Wait, what's the infinite money glitch? Me too. I am excited for it. I'm glad that you can kind of like walk wherever you want to. That was one of my favorite things in Sims 3. You can also just delete fire? So it doesn't like spread and kill everything that you worked so hard to build. They were resizing a desk and it was spawning... Huh? How is it spawning money? That's so funny. It was starting for me as well, and I panicked about a fire spreading into another lot, but I could just delete it. They 5 times their money in like 2 minutes just by like resizing and undersizing their table. I love money glitches. Almost burned down the pharmacy by burning toast or something. Oh no. That's so funny. I want to play it, but I know that I won't play it as much as I would if it had more stuff available. Hi, Mavan! Katie craft dinner. And I really want pets. Can you have kids yet? I want pets when they bring pets in. And I want kids. But I don't know if you can get kids yet. Mwah! You can? Nice. Is there like genetic stuff? Thank you, Warlock! Oh my gosh! The sub-T tree. The sub-T tree? Sub-tier tree. 3. Oh my gosh. The one that you said that you would do! Aw, you didn't have to. You can't use a toilet as a seat at a desk. Is that a bug, though? Is that a bug? I have a granola bar with me. Mmm. So do they just like randomize you, or does it take like parts of you and put it down? The tiny build challenge fandom? Well, the desk chair is the most pro of gamer strat. I guess so. I guess so. What? Warlock! What the heck? Oh my gosh! Thank you! What? Wait. I'm getting a mission done where when a hype train starts, I'll get like a little choo-choo train that goes through the bottom. Aw, I love you, Warlock, too. Thank you. How much for your hype train? The emote? I'm not telling you. That's secret information. Not secret. Buddy. You've already done so much. Oh yeah, I did see that they updated the hype emote pool. You can get like realistic animals, right? Like cute little animal guys or dogs. Thank you for the follow! I mean the sub! Bro! Oh my god. Two of them? Ah! Warlock! Warlock, you goofy! Okay, well now it's definitely funding the probably the emote. I would. I'm saving your wallet. Although this does appease my wallet. Thank you for the gifty. Oh my, like I think a lot of my regulars get gifted. That's one of the things that I really love about gifted is that a lot of my regulars can afford to get subs. So when someone as kind as you gets to come along and gift subs, then they usually get the top. I guess how does it select? I think it's like anyone who's in chat, and luckily because they're my regulars, they're usually in chat. Yeah. So then they get a special gift for a month. Me too. I agree, Monty. I like kind people too. That's why. Aww. We're all kind here. Chat followers with high watch time, followers other, I think. Ooh. Active, recent, and then any previous viewers. Only 30 days? Yeah, because it's like a month, right? Oh, only 30 days? Your new, you get to change what you eat. That would make sense. Like if you really like, ooh, egg, sausage, hash brown, brisket, and gravy. Wait, what kind of hash browns do you like? Do you like the like the patty ones? Like the ones McDonald's gives? Or do you like tater tots? Or do you like the ones that are called like shredded ones? What are the shredded hash brown? I love shredded hash brown. With jalapenos. Just go whatever the army gives me that day. You got the goods. The army better feed you well. Feed you some good old Sometimes if you have like a really good... Wait, now I'm I'm just looking at shredded hash brown pictures now, and it's making me so hungry. Sometimes, but I oversleep occasionally. Oh no, what? That's awful. How do they expect you to be your bestest without food? They should still allow you to eat nonetheless. Most of the gifted subs I've received have been in absentia, and I've never understood how that can be when I've been active on streams where gifted subs are doubled the viewer count. Ooh, whoa. It is interesting. I've noticed that too. Sometimes if I'm like quite frequent in somebody's chat. Hola, hi fish snaps! She hungers. I hunger for hash browns in specific. How long do potatoes last for? These little hash brown patties use ingredients you all likely have, except I don't have potatoes, so I can't. Shredded potatoes, egg, and some seasoning. I want them now. I want them now. We need the inner workings of the Twitch subsystem. What did you get per snaps? I didn't look. I wasn't paying attention. I was looking at level 6. I haven't gone to level 6 in like forever. Actually, been quite a while. Usually, I only get to 1 or 2. Did you guys get cool emotes? The hype chest. Wait, let's see. I got Goblin Jam. What did you guys get? Oh. Can you not eat them when they have roots? Are they like foul then? Level 6! That usually means they're bad. They're evil now. I think they're funny when they're they grow roots. It just goes to show how much they want to grow. Took forever to send because of your mod. I don't really have mods. That was actually me that approved it. I happened to check on the build because I was trying, or check chats because I have 2 different chats. I have one that shares YouTube and then one that's like only Twitch. And I switched to the only Twitch one so that I could see what the emote we got was. And I saw your message, and so I approved it. Choo-choo! Ninku! Oh, did you get that? Did you get the cow? I want the cow. Did I get... Will it show me? Twitch. Search for months. Hype train? Didn't show me. Stinky. I don't think I have, actually. I think I know of it. I've played a different version of it, I think. Wait, is this the one? Maybe I have played it. Maybe I have played this, but wait, is this like the one where they're different like guns and then no, this is the ship one. I've played the gun one. The girls are like different guns, but these ones the girls are different ships, right? I swear if you are into warships, it scratches my brain nicely. Ooh. I might actually, because I need a game on my phone. Usually I get like addicted to a specific game. I had Heartopia, but they hadn't like. I'm mad that Heartopia kind of fumbled because of the AI, and they also had like some racist thing happened. So I need a new game on my phone. I tried Limbus, but I also couldn't get into Limbus. Sometimes I like go back to old games like Cookie Run or Cookie Kingdom. But I haven't tried Azure Lane. I know one of my old regulars, Pappy. Pappy was really into an Azure Lane. It was like his favorite. Maybe I will. Maybe I will. And then I'll have something to play on my phone. Is it like Battleship? You don't have to spend any money. They give free stuff all the time, and I mean, it's fun if you like art. Yes, it's a little suggestive. Is it the one? There was a meme going around? Maybe not a meme. It was like an ad, and it was like a girl jumping from a plane, and her like... No, it's not that one? What game is that one from? Where she's jumping from a plane, and her like titties are like bouncing crazy style. Nikki? That was probably Nikki. You're right. You're right. Their music for the game isn't complicated, and you don't need to know much about the previous two games. You're missing out on a ton of... Ooh. They have a nude mod? Oh my god. Did I play Nikki? No, I don't think I've ever played. Oh my god, wait, there's like... I think, actually, no. I think I did start to play this game, but it was too... it was too much for me in terms of booties. Yeah, too openly lewd. Like, when you're, like, shooting, you get, like, half the screen is her butt. I don't mind a little bit, but, like, if it's... it becomes, like, its own monster. Yeah, Juice, yeah. Just during skin previews. Oh, yeah? Is that it? Still, I think I'll go with Azure Lane over Nikki. Is it Nikki or Nike? Nike. Nikki? Nike? Because it's named after the goddess. Who knows? Who knows? Alright, guys. Much excitement happened. I saw a character that looked like Hex Maniac from Pokemon, though. Ooh. Got her and promptly logged back out. That's what I... Sometimes that's what brings me back to... what's it? Like Cookie Run Kingdom or Cookie Run. If like a new cookie comes out and it's like my type of character, then I'll go back to it. Some stream Senran Kagura. And it's touching backstories make you tear up too. Your grandpas and bouncing boobas. The variety. They gotta hit all the types, you know? The array of audiences. What kind of games are y'all playing? I'm still waiting for Dream Journey. Oh my god, Uma Musume! Yeah. I stopped playing Uma Musume around the time that it started. They started doing like, I think it's 3 people training things. I'm just playing Subnautica 2 with my little guys. Cream Unicorn Cookie. Cream Unicorn Cookie, so cute. I love Cream Unicorn. Pancake Cookie will always be my son. I love him even if he is useless. I wonder what the new Cookie Run game is going to come out. The Brawl one? You guys remember when I was picked to beta test that? Apparently, whenever it comes out, I should get like $50 towards it. Oh no, Juice, that's so sad. That was a long time ago. I think that was like last year. I had Sonic's and Tails cookie. Oh no. Juice, that's so upsetting. How did the job interview go? So, I didn't go. I thought it over. And it didn't. How can I? Okay, so the job type that it was for is a material handler. So basically what it was is that I would be lifting things for like that are like 60 pounds like all day. And while I feel like I could do it, I know that at the end of the day I would be extremely exhausted. And then it has like the job itself. The guy who recommended me that job, he was like, "Oh, do you like doing warehouse stuff?" And I was like, "Yeah, I like warehouse stuff." Like I'm thinking like more like packing things, you know? Like I wouldn't mind packing. But he was like it's basically like giant skids for grocery stores, like all their products. And you have to go through a giant warehouse and pick up everything that the grocery store ordered and then put it on a skid and then drive it. So, but it's like I feel like if I was in a position where I desperately needed money, then I would go for it. But I'm not. And also, it's quite far away. And so it means that I have to do like a ride share to get there. And in the end, that would cost me like $100 there and back. So it's like $100 off the paycheck. So I don't have a car, no. So it would have been quite rough. They have a really high turnover rate. So I think if I ever needed a job desperately enough, I could likely go back to them. They also have like it's primarily male dominated. And also I'm so certain if you guys could see me in like beyond Nono, I am extremely itty bitty. I'm like super duper itty bitty, like size wise. So I don't got meat on me enough to look like I can lift 60 pounds of product for 8 hours. So you thought it through. Yeah, I think ideally, so you know how I was talking about becoming a librarian in the future? Ideally, what I think I want to do is work with animals during the day or work in a warehouse but like have it not be as physically demanding, and then on the side at the same time take library courses because I have to have like I wrote it down somewhere, but I have to have taken like at least these 3 specific library courses. So I've applied to a few more places. I'm still with the workshop places. Basically the work thing that I signed up for, I get assigned a career coach and they help me get a job essentially. So they'll help me until I get the job. So I still have them to help. So I'm not like overly worried or anything, but yeah. Certificate in the Dewey Decimal System. Yes, I want the certificate in the Dewey Decimal System. What does this say? You know, if there's a Waffle House near you. For the army I was making... Oh my goodness, really? A Waffle House. I don't actually think we have Waffle Houses in Canada. What were you doing at the Waffle House? Were you a chef? Or a server? If you were a book, you'd be the highlight. Hi, Dandy's Lion. I would make 2/3 of the people I come to this pattern to watch a library worker and would be really funny. That'd be funny. The drawback to Waffle House is you need to be prepared for a fight at any given moment. Wait, what? Oh, because of the I'll fight you behind a Waffle House? I thought it was Arby's. Then I became a cook. But you make so much more as a server. Because of the tips? My sister works as a server at a very busy restaurant, and she gets a lot of tips. Because she is a very, very beautiful young woman. And she is very, very, very friendly and happy. So she gets a lot of tips. I think that's the thing with her, right? That people look down on, like, oh, you're just a server kind of deal. And like kind of like pressures her to find like a specific career to go into. But she makes good money. I think her only problem is she doesn't get or I think maybe she actually is getting more hours now. At the time she wasn't getting as many as she wished she could, but she makes like super good tip wise money. I remembered this one dude bringing in a girl from his car. He dropped her in the parking lot, then grabbed her waistband and collar and carried her inside and put her under the table where... Oh my god! What the heck? What was his issue? Did he like sit down and then like be like, You seem also... I think I would get okay tips because I'm nice, but I'm not as pretty as my sister. They were all drunk. No. Could you kick them out? My best friend makes nice money being a server for a restaurant. She texts me with just their flex or Pokemon cards. Nice. You didn't... Were you not allowed to kick them out? Oh, this is home of the drunk people. That's scary. Some drunk people I don't mind, but also I'm terrified of people puking, so that would be too scary for me. I can never know. They're like babies. I don't know when they're about to puke. Although I do love babies. I don't know about your area, but here there's pretty much always demand for food service workers, and you can make good money with tips in some places. I'm hoping that I can get something with animals, though. To work, like, full-time. Something that won't... I described it as up and down. So there are rush hours and then not as rushy hours. It's not like go, 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 go all day. Because if it's go, go, go all day, then I won't have enough energy to, like, do the library courses or stream or anything else. I'll just come home and I'll be, like, dead and I'll pass out. And I'll do the same thing the next day. So a job like that would be nice. I guess server technically falls under that, but if I had to pick between animals and people, I would pick animals. I could, but they were super nice. Plus, it meant we could make sure she didn't get too sick from alcohol. Ah! Oh, that was nice. Like a bug expert? I could be a bug expert. The only time that I've been in, like, full, like, company of drunk people was when my sister threw a party in high school, and it was a bunch of teenagers getting wasted. Like I think 3 girls had to go to the hospital because of alcohol poisoning. Kind of wasted. It was not good. 3 girls had to go to the hospital, and then at one point my sister was trying to talk to me while she was holding a bag for a dude to puke in. Like, I'm like, please. What are we doing? I don't like socializing. I didn't want to be there, but it was like a what's the word when it was the not final straw, it was the requirement, the like the last her option was either she have a party with my mom there, she don't have a party, or she have a party with me there. And obviously you don't want your mom to be there at your high school party. My mom was so stressed out though. She was in her car, like just outside the cul-de-sac. That's she wasn't even that far away. She was just like there and was like staking out the house. I unplugged the ultimatum. Yes, that's the word. Would and I only work. Wait, I have to go back up. Working in one of those, but the butterfly houses. That would be so cool. I would love to work in a butterfly house. Server takes a lot out of you. I went down to, oh my god, that's a lot. And I only worked 4 days a week. Yeah. Take that losing as a win. The straw broke the camel's back is a good saying, but not the saying that I was thinking of. Would get you, would another 10 get you to hype train? Hey. I already got, that's why I gotta see about that. The hype train emote is already on its way. Don't worry. Don't worry. No! We haven't even started reading today, and that was our point. But in the future, let me see when they're gonna be finished it. So then you can save it for when I have the hype train emote, and then you can get a hype train to see it. How about that? That sound good? Ugh! No! June 26th is the guaranteed delivery date. I find moths cute at a distance, but I hate true. Fine. Yay! Ah. Nono wins. I'll tell you when it's been completed because I'll want to show it off. It's like so cute. It's like this, like me in a train, and then like the little train carts will have like the pop cubs in them. So cute. I like spiders at a distance unless they're like really weird. The other day when I was working, there was a spider in the room and it was huge. It was like if you put your index finger and thumb together and then maybe like move your index finger to your thumb's digit, like the knuckle part where it bends. It was like that big. And he was like running around. Generic one. It's not done yet. Wait, I'll show you. Actually, I'll show you what it looks like. I'll show you guys the example so you know what it's gonna look like. You have a pet spider? Okay, window capture. Dun dun. Ah! Okay. This is what it's gonna look like. And then it moves. And it'll be me, and then the pop cubs. Isn't it so cute? I'm so excited for it. I've always wanted a little hype train emote. And I was so happy to find this one. You have a jumping spider? Anyways, that's the emote that we get eventually. All right, guys. Today is supposed to be a reading day. Actually, wait, I want to show you guys something else. I'm gonna get this game, and I really want to play it. It's called Kuloniku. It's like a ramen. Do hype trains get you more views? I think the hype train pushes you to pushes you up on search bar things, like, because they want you to Leona! Wait, what the heck? You were already in chat. Were you? Wait, were you streaming while you were in chat? Hello, welcome in. Hello, Devil May Cry. That's true. I do need to play Devil May Cry. Wasn't it like 4 or something? Devil May Cry 4? Like it was a specific one. Hello, welcome in. Hi everyone. If you don't know who I am, my name is Nono Noelle. I'm the Grand Marshal of the Pop Cup Parade. We travel the world spreading hope and joy. Today is Warrior Cat Wednesday, in which we read Warrior Cats. It has been almost an hour, and we haven't read anything yet, so you haven't missed anything. Isn't that lovely? Wonderful news. I said 5, but all 5. Okay, it was 5. Sorry, no, don't apologize. I love chatting with you guys. It's rare that sometimes I want to do chatting streams, but then like nobody's in like a chatty mood, or they're busy doing other stuff. So whenever I can get a chance to chat with chat, then I'm very happy. Okay. There's this game I want to get. It looks really, really cute. Window capture. Will it show Steam? Oh. This game. You make ramens. Thank you for the follow! Ooh, and congrats on your sand. I hope you guys had a wonderful stream, though. You were doing ASMR. Were you doing, like, actual ASMR? Unlike me. Funny how it almost always happens specifically on the... I know. It's funny, though. I want to do this one kind of stream idea where, like, it's a learning stream, and then we just sit on Google and research things that... or on YouTube, and like watch things and learn a bunch of weird facts. Oh, you were reading bedtime stories and also The Great Gatsby. Oh my gosh, fellow readers. Okay, then you guys will be ready to read more. Yeah, this is the game. Oh, it's kind of behind the chat. Oh. Here's a... Doesn't it look cute and fun? Happy dinner! You can't read? Have you read Escape the Furnace? No, I haven't. That sounds good, though. Is it like a mystery? Meatball Brawl? So you can chop! I love chopping. It's like Cooking Mama. But like, also you have a shop. A cozy cooking sim. Overwhelmingly positive. It's only $13 because I actually have the bundle pair already, because it comes in a bundle. and I have the other bundle. So I just get it discounted. Doesn't it look so cute? I love the style of it. It's about a boy who did a crime and some mysterious figures appear in his home. Then they take him to a certain juvenile home, which is a jail built... That is totally up my alley. And so it's like him trying to escape it. They call the jail like the furnace. I love mysterious things like that. I have to write it down. Escape the furnace. Ooh. Ooh. Slave labor and sweltering heat in jail. Oh my god. Hell dogs. So it's like, ooh, science fiction-y. Oh, is there a whole like series for it? Cool. I dig a little horror science fiction. Okay, it is now open on my tab. I should make like a to read journal thing. The author during COVID did a read along. Oh really? That's smart. Then I could like read along like he was reading it. That'd be smart way to one promote your book, and also I could leave. Anyway, like now, thank you Unplugged for stopping by. It's nice to see you. I hope your jumping spider is well, and you're white. All right. Speaking of books, let us begin our Warrior Cat Wednesday. Now that we've had ample time to chit and chat, we are. What are we doing? We're reading. Right. So when I do Warrior Cat Wednesdays, I do previously on Warrior Cat Wednesdays. So previously on Warrior Cat Wednesdays, we started A Vision of Shadows, which is the 6th series? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 6th series, the 6th saga of Warrior Cats. We're back in the forest with our old friends. Everyone's older. We're following Alderpaw, who is Squirrel Flight's and Bramblestar's baby. Alderpaw and Sparkpaw. And there's a new prophecy that's about all the... It involves all the clans, but for some reason, Alderpaw was in the dream where the prophecy was told, and Jayfeather spotted him. And so he's involved in this prophecy somehow, but he doesn't know why. Jayfeather doesn't know why. That's what's happening. We were just at... So last time we followed Alderpaw, he became an apprentice. We learned he's quite like timid and very self-conscious and kind of spooked. And his sister is like a natural hunter and very eager and happy and sparkly. He had 2 siblings that died, which is why we have 2 dead cats on our dead cat toll list already. And they just went to the gathering where the medicine cats announced that there was a new prophecy involving all the clans, and Leafpool was staring at him, and he felt like it was ominous. And that's where I ended. Okay, let me read what chat said. It was our Scholastic Book Fair. Oh, I love Scholastic Book Fairs. But it was a violent kind of book. I hope you read it sometime, and I love to hear about it. It won't bug you more. Excited to hear you read. Yay! You're never bugging me, Warlock. Nobody bugs me. Unless they're spamming the same thing. And even then, it doesn't totally bug me. I'm just worried that it's gonna bug other people. Good Morning Midnight by Lily Brooks Dalton and The Starless Sea by Erin. One of the most beautiful looking... Ooh, I love beautiful written books. Good Morning Midnight by Lily Brooks. I think I've seen this book. And The Starless Sea. The Starless Sea by Aaron. I think I've also seen this one. But, like, it has a bunch of different title pages. Is this fantasy fiction, romance novel, romantic fantasy, historical fantasy? Sounds like both of my type of books. We got a little taste of all sorts of things. Science fiction, gritty science fiction. We have, what is this one? This one is set science fiction, apocalyptic fiction. And then this one's fantasy. Very exciting. All right. I've written them. I have them open in tabs. The theme of Heartbreak Mermaid from No. I don't know that theme. No cha. No cha. That's my best imitation. All right. I warmed up my coffee at the start of stream and I haven't sipped it and now it's cold again. Almost night. All right, let us begin. Finally, we are actually ASMRing. Chapter 4. Aldepar, will you concentrate? Molewhisker gave an irritable lash of his tail. Any kid could learn this move. The two apprentices were battle training with their mentors in a clearing near the camp. Molewhisker was teaching them to rear up on their hind paws so that they could attack their opponent from above. Sparkpaw had gotten the idea right away, but Alderpaw's ears were smarting from the blows she had landed on him. But somehow every time he tried it, he would overbalance, or Sparkpaw would slip aside before his blows could connect. Alderpaw knew exactly why he couldn't give all his attention to training. He couldn't shake the uneasy feeling Leafpool's gaze had given him at the gathering the night before. Why was she always staring at him? Until recently, neither of the medicine cats had paid any attention to him, apart from the time he had gotten a thorn in his paw when he was a kid. Now he felt as if they were aware of him all the time. I don't like it, he told himself. That's enough battle training for today, Molewhisker meowed with a sigh. Cherryfall, why don't you and Sparkpaw collect your prey from earlier? Alderpaw, you and I will try hunting in another part of the forest. Okay, Cherryfall agreed. We might see what else we can catch on the way back. Good luck, Alderpaw. She and Sparkpaw headed back towards the camp. Sparkpaw had a bounce in her step. In the earlier hunting session, she had caught a fat thrush and a squirrel, and Cherryfall couldn't praise her highly enough. Come on, Alderpaw. Molewhisker turned to pad deeper into the forest. Maybe you'll hunt better without your littermate close by. Fat chance, Alderpaw thought gloomily as he followed his mentor. I haven't caught anything yet. Not just today, but ever. Sparkpaw catches stuff all the time. Once again, his thoughts drifted back to Leafpool's steady gaze on him. Medicine cats know things, he reflected. Maybe she knows that there's something wrong with me, and I'll never be a good warrior. He was worrying so much that he didn't realize Molewhisker had halted and was speaking to him. All he heard was the final words. Try doing it that way. Sorry, he mewed. Would you mind saying that again? Molewhisker flexed his claws, and his voice was sharp as he replied. Alderpaw, you need to pay attention. A cat who can't hunt is no good to his clan. Alderpaw flinched at the harsh tone. Molewhisker gazed at him and sighed, shaking his head slightly. He was obviously making a massive effort to regain his patience. I want you to focus very intensely on one small area at a time while you're looking for prey, he meowed. Don't open your ears and nose to all the territory around you. Okay, I'll try, Alderpaw responded. After glancing around, he picked out the undergrowth at the foot of an oak tree and concentrated all his senses on it. Eventually, he heard something scratching among the tree roots. Tasting the air, he recognized the scent of mouse. Alderpaw dropped into the hunter's crouch and crept forward. Warlock! Warlock, what did we talk about? Warlock, you were supposed to wait! You goof? Wow! Thank you! gosh, I know so many of these people too that got one. Thank you, Warlock. Now you got a cute little gifted sub badge. Sneak, sneak. I was really scared today before I decided to not do the interview, but I'm happy that you're so kind to me. And it's making me happy. I'm enjoying hearing you read. Goofy, I just started reading. Okay, I'm going to continue, but I'm watching you. Watch out. Oh wait, I keep smiling. How am I supposed to read under these conditions? I can't read under these conditions. I have a lot of book recommendations I want to ask you about sometime. Ooh, yeah, sure. I haven't really... I feel like... See, what happens with me is I usually read fan fiction, and then I never get a chance to actually read novels. But I'm finally, I think, petering out of my fan fiction reading, at least a little bit. So I may open up a large... Oh my god, Kingdom Keepers! I read the Kingdom Keepers! I love the Kingdom Keepers! I love them! When I was a kid, I was so obsessed with that. Good stuff! He's so kind. I love that series. My mom introduced it to me. I loved it so much when, like, because I like writing too. I tried, like, writing a quote-unquote novel, and it was just, like, basically the exact same thing. They were, like, the kids of the... Your mom introduced it. My mom, she introduced it because she's like an author and she writes a lot, so she's really into all the things. So when I was growing up, she recommended me a lot of books. She was really in tune with what was hot and what I would like and stuff. So that's why she recommended it to me. Not because she's old or I'm old or young or whatever it is. She is? No wonder you're a book fiend. We're getting distracted. I would love to read Kingdom Keepers on stream. I love that concept so much. It was so good. Right, where was I? Where was I? Okay, I'll start the paragraph again. After glancing around, he picked out the undergrowth at the foot of an oak tree and concentrated all his senses on it. Eventually, he heard something scratching among the tree roots. Tasting the air, he recognized the scent of mouse. Alderpaw dropped into the hunter's crouch and crept forward. He remembered everything Mole Whisker had taught him. To keep low, his belly fur brushing the ground, and to keep his tail curled against his side. He set down his paws as lightly as he could, and as he drew closer to the tree, his whole pelt tingled with the thought of victory. This time, I'm gonna do it. I'm sure of it. Now he could see the small gray body of the mouse crouched behind a tuft of long grass. His jaws were already watering at the anticipated taste of prey. But just as he was readying himself to pounce, a twig cracked underneath his forepaw. With a flicker, the mouse was gone. Alderpaw halted, letting out a growl of frustration. He didn't dare look at Mole Whisker until his mentor stood right over him. Mole Whisker's tail tip was twitching in agitation. Maybe that's enough for today, he meowed, his voice tightly controlled. He was silent as he led the way back to camp, and Alderpaw followed in a fog of despair. It's all going wrong. Whoever heard of a warrior who can't fight and can't hunt? As soon as they emerged from the thorn tunnel into camp, Bramblestar bounded over to them. Mole Whisker, I need a word with you, he meowed. Come to my den. Okay, Bramblestar. Mole Whisker glanced back as he followed his leader towards the tumbled rocks.
Alderpaw, you can get something to eat. Alderpaw trudged over to the fresh kill pile. Sparkpaw was already there, tucking into the thrush she had caught.
How did it go?
She asked. Awful, Alderpaw replied. I missed another really easy catch.
Oh, mouse dung.
Sparkpaw's gaze was sympathetic, and she pressed her muzzle briefly into Alderpaw's shoulder.
Never mind. You can share this thrush. There's plenty.
Thanks. Alderpaw mewed miserably. Am I always going to depend on other cats for food? As he took his first bite, Sparkpaw glanced curiously at Bramblestar's den on the high ledge.
Are you in trouble? She asked. Is that why Bramblestar is talking to Molewhisker?
Alderpaw's belly lurched. I never thought of that. I was just so relieved to not have the training over.
Of course not,
he responded, glancing nervously up at the high ledge, but he couldn't keep a quiver out of his voice, and he knew Sparkpaw realized he didn't believe what he was saying. As he watched, Bramblestar and Molewhisker emerged from the den, Jayfeather and Leafpool walking in their wake. All 4 cats climbed down the tumbled rocks to the ground. Bramblestar waved his tail to beckon Alderpaw. Oh, StarClan, it is about me, Alderpaw thought. Exchanging a glance with his sister, he swallowed and headed towards his clan leader. I know you've been working hard as an apprentice, Bramblestar began as Alderpaw joined him. His voice and his eyes were kind. I'm really proud of all you've learned, but sometimes a cat can find himself halfway down the wrong path. Alderpaw blinked at his father. I don't understand. Bramblestar's eyes softened. It appears that you now have a new destiny. You're going to be a medicine cat apprentice.
Oh. Alderpaw gasped. What?
He had expected to be punished for his failure, but never that he would be taken away from Molewhisker altogether. I'm not going to be a warrior anymore? Bramblestar nodded to the 2 medicine cats. Leafpool and Jayfeather saw your new destiny in a vision. But I can't! Alderpaw had never in his wildest imaginations thought of being a medicine cat. I'd be even more useless at that! Besides, he couldn't really believe in this vision. Surely it was just an excuse so that Bramblestar could protect his feelings. Leafpool and Jayfeather don't need another medicine cat, he thought. He was so horrified and humiliated that he wanted to flee from the camp and run until he was far away from any cat who knew about his failure. Please, he begged. I promise I'll do better. I'll listen to Molewhisker and try really hard. I know you've already been trying hard, Molewhisker told him sympathetically. I'm not angry with you. Leafpool took a step forward. This isn't punishment, she explained. Jayfeather and I asked Bramblestar for this. They say they believe you'll be able to talk with StarClan, Bramblestar put in. Alderpaw began to realize that his clan leader, his father, wouldn't lie to him. But he was still doubtful. I can't think of what's given Leafpool and Jayfeather the idea I can speak to StarClan. Is there anything I can do to make you change your mind? He asked desperately. Bramblestar shook his head. It has nothing to do with me, he replied. It is the will of StarClan. This is what you're meant to do. Realizing it would do no good to keep on arguing, Alderpaw took a deep breath. Okay, he sighed. When Bramblestar dismissed him with a nod, he staggered back to where Sparkpaw was still eating and stared blankly at the remains of the thrush. I'm not hungry anymore.
What did Bramblestar and Molewhisker want to tell you?
Sparkpaw asked curiously. They said... Alderpaw's voice was trembling. He took a breath and started again. They said I have to be a medicine cat apprentice. Sparkpaw's eyes stretched wide with amazement. That's great, she exclaimed. Medicine cats are really important. Then she seemed to realize how unhappy Alderpaw was feeling and added more sympathetically, but it doesn't seem like it's as much fun to be a medicine cat as it is to be a regular warrior. All those icky herbs. She blinked thoughtfully for a moment. Maybe that's why you're so bad at hunting. You're meant to be a medicine cat. Alderpaw felt as if he wanted to retch up every piece of prey he had ever eaten. I'm sure that's why they want me to be a medicine cat. Not because I'm special and important, but because I'm no good as a warrior apprentice. He swallowed hard, feeling as if there were a tight knot in his chest. Well, I'll just show them. I'm going to be the best medicine cat apprentice I can be, he resolved. I'll try really hard and make Bramblestar and Squirrel Flight proud. But deep down inside, Alderpar wasn't sure he could do it. I'm not really a medicine cat. I'm not special enough. A chilly dawn mist filled the stone hollow as Alderpaw tumbled out of his den. Sparkpaw was still snoring peacefully in her mossy nest. He arched his back in a good long stretch, then headed out into camp. Most of his clanmates were still asleep, though Squirrel Flight was standing outside the warrior's den, organizing the dawn patrol with Breakin' Berrynose, and Brightheart.
The triple B's.
You're up early, she remarked to Alderpaw as he padded past. Jayfeather wants me in the medicine cat's den, Alderpaw responded. I'm really happy he's being put into the medicine cat den because that means we get more Jayfeather. Best not be late then, his mother mewed, giving him a swift lick around the ears. But get yourself some fresh kill first. You can't learn on an empty belly. Thanks. Alderpaw darted to the fresh kill pile, grabbed a shrew, and gulped it down. This was Alderpaw's second day as a medicine cat apprentice. The day before, he had sat in a corner of the den, watching and trying to keep out of the way, but Leafpool had said that today he would start helping. Part of him was looking forward to that, but Alderpaw was sure that Jayfeather, who was always so snappy and short-tempered, didn't really want him there. Leafpool is much kinder, he thought with a sigh, but I wish she would stop giving me funny looks. Both medicine cats slept in the den, along with Briarlight, whose hind legs didn't work, and any other sick cat who needed constant attention. Briarlight! It was so crowded that Jayfeather and Leafpool had decided that for the time being, Alderpaw should still sleep in the apprentice's den with Sparkpaw. Alderpaw was glad to be with his littermate, but it made him feel even more that he wasn't a real medicine cat. His pelt felt hot with jealousy all over again when he remembered the previous night. Sparkpaw had told him all about going on a border patrol with Cherryfall and the other cats. Why can't I just be normal and a good warrior apprentice like Sparkpaw? He thought with a sigh, then he braced himself. I won't think like that anymore. I'm gonna do the best I can. I'm not gonna fail at this too. As soon as Alderpaw pushed his way past the bramble screen in front of the medicine cat's den, Jayfeather turned from where he was rooting among the herbs in the cleft at the back. You're late, he snapped. Oh, come on, Jayfeather, Leafpool meowed, looking up from her massaging Briarlight's hindquarters. The sun isn't even up yet. Jayfeather bared his teeth in the beginning of a snarl. I'll say what I like, he retorted. I'm not your apprentice now. Did you sleep well? He asked Alderpaw. Yeah, thanks, Alderpaw responded, taken aback by the sudden change in Jayfeather's tone from irritable to intense. Jayfeather turned to face him. Do you have any strange dreams sometimes? Alderpaw felt awkward under Jayfeather's blind gaze. It seemed almost rude to stare at him when he knew Jayfeather couldn't see. He glanced aside, only to meet Leafpool's gaze, and also fixed intently on him. Alderpaw's skin crawled as if a whole nest of ants was living in his fur. I guess I do sometimes, he stammered. Doesn't every cat? I do, Briarlight interrupted, hauling herself onto her forepaws. I dreamed just the other night that I remembered I could fly, and I went soaring over all the clan territory. It was great. Alderpaw was thoroughly relieved to have the attention taken away from him. Jayfeather and Leafpool exchanged a glance. Then Jayfeather shrugged and turned back to the stored herbs. Come over here, he meowed to Alderpaw. It's time you started to learn about herbs. Alderpaw joined him and peered at the herbs piled in little heaps. They looked like so many dead leaves to him, but he had this good sense not to say so. This is goldenrod, Jayfeather began, sniffing at a plant with bright yellow flowers. We use it for cleaning wounds. And this is a tansy, which is good for coughs, not as good as catmint, which is the plant here. But useful all the same, Leafpool put in. She had finished giving Briarlight her massage and was helping her exercise by tossing a ball of moss for Briarlight to catch. And it helps with back pain, too. This is watermint, Jayfeather went on, angling his ears towards a plant with hairy stems and spikes of purple flowers. We give that for bellyache. Let him have a sniff, Leafpool suggested. So much of what we do depends on our scent, she added to Alderpaw. Jayfeather edged backwards so that Alderpaw could reach the cleft and sniff at the various herbs. They all smell alike to me, Alderpaw thought. Sort of herby. And this one is yarrow, Jayfeather continued. It makes a cat vomit if they've swallowed poison. And we can also make a ointment of it to heal cracked pads. Got that? He asked, turning swiftly back to Alderpaw. This is so interesting because Jayfeather was a natural medicine cat. His nose is so important in his day-to-day life that he immediately knew what the herbs were before even being taught them, because he had to be able to identify them. So he's like a genius, basically. And we've pretty much seen all the medicine cats and how they train their apprentices. So it's interesting to see Jayfeather have an apprentice that he's teaching, because he's so not mentor, what am I looking for? Mentor qualified, mentor type. I think so, Alderpaw mewed. In fact, his brain was whirling, and he thought he would never manage to remember all the different herbs and their uses. And this is only a small part of them. Jayfeather continued to point out different herbs and let Alderpaw sniff them, until Alderpaw felt like he had been concentrating for moons. His shoulders ached and his eyes stung in the scent-laden air. The sun was well up when the bramble screen was pushed aside again, and Sparkpaw padded into the den. What do you want? Jayfeather asked. We're busy here, so it had better be good. Cherryfall sent me, Sparkpaw replied, sounding not at all bothered by Jayfeather's unfriendly tone. Purdy has a bellyache, and I've come to get herbs for it. Oh, poor Purdy, Leafpool exclaimed. I'll come to the Elder's Den and check on him. Jayfeather swung around on Alderpaw. Well? What herb should Leafpool take with her? What's good for bellyache? That would be... Alderpaw knew that Jayfeather had told him, but his head was stuffed with quickly recited herb names, and he couldn't pull out the one he wanted. Panicking, he glanced wildly around and spotted Briarlight mouthing Waterman at him. I'm scrolling up to see if this is correct. Oh yeah, it is Waterman. Oh, Waterman! Alderpaw meowed, with a grateful look at Briarlight. He felt warmed to notice that Sparkpaw looked impressed. It's nice to show her what I can do for a change. Okay, Jayfeather mewed briskly. Now find it in the stores. Oh, snap. Alderpaw stared at the piles of herbs. He had no idea which one was Waterman. Aware of Jayfeather twitching impatiently beside him, he pulled out a stem with bright yellow flowers. Jayfeather sighed. No, that's goldenrod. Purdy had better not eat it. We put it on wounds. This is watermint. He snagged the purple-flowered plant in his claws and gave it to Leafpool, who headed out of the den with Sparkpaw following. You need to pay close attention, Jayfeather told Alderpaw sharply. Cats' lives depend on us getting things right. I know. Alderpaw sighed. How will I ever learn all this? He should know how, hard it is to get into something that you don't really want to do. Jaypaw was Jayfeather wanted to be a warrior really, really badly. But because he was blind, he couldn't, it was just too difficult for him, and also he had the destiny thing with being a dream walker. I'm sad that he isn't a dream walker anymore. Chapter 5. Alderpaw paused in front of the herb store for a moment. You
only missed the first 3 chapters, so you didn't miss much. Just that Alderpaw was made an apprentice, and then his training started. Alderpaw paused in front of the herb store for a moment. I'm always paying attention. Here you are, Dovewing, he mewed. These should help your sore throat. The pale gray she-cat dipped her head. Thanks, Alderpaw. She licked up the leaves and began chewing them as he left. It feels better already, she mumbled around the mouthful. Good job, Jayfeather mewed briskly to Alderpaw. Alderpaw felt a small burst of warmth in his chest. That's the first time Jayfeather has sounded approving. He had been a medicine cat apprentice for several sunrises now, and his new life didn't feel quite as impossible as it had been in the beginning. Even so, he still found it hard to think of himself ever becoming a full medicine cat. As he began to tidy up the remaining tansy leaves, Squirrelflight pushed past the bramble screen and entered the den. Is Leafpool back yet? She asked Jayfeather. No, she isn't, Jayfeather grumbled. And why she has to trek across to ShadowClan because Little Cloud isn't feeling well, I do not know. She only wants to help him, Squirrelflight meowed. Jayfeather snorted. Now there's a cat who could use an apprentice. ShadowClan is overflowing with them. You would think they could find one for Little Cloud. But no, they have to borrow a ThunderClan medicine cat. You know as well as I do, Squirrelflight responded mildly, that a medicine cat apprentice has to be just the right cat. She shot an affectionate glance at Alderpaw, who warmed at her words. Bramblestar and I wanted to talk to you in his den, Squirrelflight told Jayfeather. Are you busy right now? Nothing that won't wait, Jayfeather replied. Alderpaw, you can help Briarlight with her exercises. I'll be back soon. When he was gone, Alderpaw rolled up a ball of moss and began tossing it to Briarlight to help her stretch her forelegs and chest. He was amazed by how agile she was, catching the ball when he was sure he had thrown it out of her reach. You're good at this, he exclaimed. I've had a lot of practice, Briarlight mewed. It really helps with my breathing. How's your training going? She asked after a moment. Alderpaw shook his head. I feel like I'm doing a little better now, but I'm not sure I can ever be a full medicine cat. You'll be fine, Briarlight reassured him. Think of how much you've learned, and you've been apprentice for less than half a moon. Alderpaw hoped that she was right. He felt guilty about being anxious when Briarlight had so many obstacles and was often in pain. She never gives up, and she hardly ever seems to feel sorry for herself. Jayfeather! Jayfeather! Alderpaw stiffened as he heard his sister's frantic yowling in the camp outside. I lost my spot. A heartbeat later, she came tearing into the den, wild-eyed and panting. Where's Jayfeather? She demanded. I was out in the woods with Cherryfall and Sorrelstripe, and Cherryfall is hurt. She cut her leg. She needs help right away. Alderpaw froze for a moment, on the edge of panic. This is the first time I've had an emergency, and I'm here on my own? What do I do? Briarlight is in Bramblestar's den. Jayfeather is in Bramblestar's den. Briarlight meowed steadily. Sparkpaw, go and get him. Sparkpaw dashed out immediately. While he waited, Alderpaw wondered what he should do. Should I get some herbs out of the stores? What's the right herb for a cut leg? He was relieved a few moments later when he heard Sparkpaw calling him from outside. He slid out of the den to find her waiting there with Jayfeather. Come on, Jayfeather ordered. Sparkpaw, show us where you left Cherryfall. Sparkpaw led the way out of camp and headed towards the ShadowClan border. Alderpaw followed with Jayfeather, guiding the blind medicine cat around tree stumps and bramble thickets. Even though he was worried about Cherryfall, he was relieved to be out in the forest again instead of being cooped up all day in the medicine cat's den. Can't you get a move on? Jayfeather asked him irritably. Cherryfall could be bleeding to death. I'm doing the best I can, Alderpaw responded. He felt a spurt of annoyance, because he could have gone a lot faster if he hadn't been guiding a blind cat.
But he knew that Jayfeather was only bad-tempered because he hated needing help, so Alderpaw kept calm and looked ahead to work out easier routes. How did Cherryfall hurt herself? Jayfeather asked as they emerged onto the lake shore where the going was easier.
Well, we were talking about the prophecy, Sparkpaw began, and Cherryfall wondered if
What you find in the shadows
could mean the kitty pets who stayed with ThunderClan during the Great Storm. Ooh, hello! Hi, Flowers and Crafts Galore. What were you working on today? What wonderful goods were you making? I'm gonna keep reading in the meantime, but thank you for the raid. Thank you again. I hope you had a wonderful time and you continue to have a wonderful time.
Where was I?
Oh. And Cherryfall wondered if
what you find in the shadows
could mean the kitty pets who stayed with ThunderClan during the Great Storm. And we were gonna try and find out the ones who left after. And see if they wanted to come back.
I don't remember the Great Storm. I guess that's like something we don't get to know until later, maybe?
Alderpaw wasn't surprised. Since the gathering, he had been too busy to think much about the prophecy, but the rest of his clanmates seemed to talk of nothing else.
Jayfeather let out a snort. That was a mouse-brained idea. Kitty pets have nothing to do with StarClan. They are no use to clan cats.
Cherryfall thought it was worth a try.
Sparkpaw mewed defensively. Besides, you would have to cross ShadowClan to get to the two-leg place. Jayfeather growled, letting out a hiss of annoyance as he stumbled over a fallen branch. You should have asked permission before just wandering out of ThunderClan territory, stupid furballs.
It was only an idea.
Sparkpaw's neck fur bristled at Jayfeather's dismissive tone.
Anyway, we didn't get near ShadowClan territory. Cherryfall slipped and cut herself on some two-leg rubbish before we came in sight of the border.
Jayfeather made no response, though he still looked angry.
We just thought if we made it to the two-leg place, maybe we'd find some kitty pets who knew the cats we wanted to talk to,
Sparkpaw added. Jayfeather rolled his eyes. StarClan help us. Mouse brains. Sparkpaw clamped her jaws together as if she was biting back a furious retort. Alderpaw felt sorry for her, though he couldn't help thinking that Jayfeather was right. Surely kitty pets couldn't be part of a prophecy from StarClan.
It's this way, Sparkpaw meowed. After a moment, she veered away from the shore, through a stand of hazel saplings, and into a grassy hollow shaded by a spreading beech tree. Cherryfall was laying at the foot of the tree with one leg stretched out, while Sorrelstripe paced up and down anxiously beside her. Thanks, StarClan, you're here! Sorrelstripe exclaimed as Sparkpaw led the way down into the hollow. Alderpaw followed and stood beside Jayfeather as the medicine cat examined Cherryfall's paw. There was a deep cut across her pads, and blood was oozing out of it. Clots of blood had soaked the grass beside her, and Alderpaw spotted some scraps of hard, clear two-leg stuff close beside her. Glass! He dabbed at it experimentally and felt the sharp edge. Careful! Sorrelstripe warned him. That's what hurt Cherryfall. Why can't the two legs take their stuff back to their own dens instead of leaving it here to injure cats? Sparkpaw asked angrily. Alderpaw. Jayfeather beckoned with his tail. You need to go. We need some cobweb to stop the bleeding. Go and find some. Alderpaw froze, glancing around wildly. Cobweb? Where? The sight and reek of the blood and Cherryfall's face screwed up with pain worried him so much that his paws felt stuck to the ground. Over there! Sparkpaw pointed to an oak tree at the far side of the hollow. There's a cleft in the tree. There should be cobwebs inside it. Before Alderpaw could move, his littermate darted off, closely followed by Sorrelstripe. Now Sparkpaw's better at me at being a medicine cat, Alderpaw thought, furious with himself. He was even angrier when she turned out to be right, and she and Sorrelstripe returned across the hollow with pawfuls of cobwebs. Pawfuls of cobweb! Oh, for StarClan's sake, Alderpaw! Jayfeather hissed in exasperation. Come here. Put your paw there. He pointed with his tail to a spot on Cherryfall's leg. Press down hard. No, harder than that. Don't worry about hurting her. We've got to stop this bleeding.
It's okay, Alderpaw, Cherryfall gasped. Alderpaw put all his strength into pressing down where Jayfeather had shown him, and to his relief, the flow of blood from Cherryfall's paws slowed and then dwindled away completely. Good, Jayfeather grunted. Now the cobweb. Alderpaw couldn't believe how deft Jayfeather's paws were in wrapping Cherryfall's wound, especially considering he was blind. Now release the pressure, Jayfeather instructed Alderpaw when all the cobweb was wound around the injured paw. And please, StarClan, let's hope the bleeding doesn't start again. Alderpaw lifted his paw and stared at the cobweb covering, afraid that he would see a red blotch spreading on the gray webs. There's no more blood. Oh, there's no more blood, he mewed after a few heartbeats. Right. Jayfeather sounded satisfied. Cherryfall, let's get you back to camp. Don't even think about putting that paw to the ground. Sparkpaw and Sorrelstripe support her. Back in the camp, Jayfeather had the other cats take Cherryfall to the medicine cat's den. Alderpaw arranged a nest for her beside Briarlight, and she sank into it with a sigh of relief. Thank Jayfeather, she mewed. And you, Alderpaw, I'm sorry to be such a nuisance. Just remember that the next time you want to do something mouse-brained, Jayfeather muttered. Now, Alderpaw, unwrap the cobwebs. I want to get a better idea of the wound. What if it starts bleeding again? Alderpaw asked nervously. Then we put more cobwebs on, Bee-Brain. As carefully as he could, snagging his claws delicately into the cobweb wrapping, Alderpaw laid the wound bare. He hardly dared to breathe as he tore away the last of the cobweb, but to his relief, there was no more bleeding. Meanwhile, Jayfeather had gone to the herb store and came back carrying a piece of comfrey root. We'll put a poultice of this on the wound, he meowed, dropping it at Alderpaw's paws. Alderpaw's paws. You can chew it up and Cherryfall. Give that wound a good lick. It doesn't seem to make sense. Alderpaw began chewing the root, blinking at its tangy taste. When he thought it was fine enough, he spat it out again. Jayfeather bent his head to sniff it. It'll do, he commented. Now spread it on Cherryfall's paw. Alderpaw noticed how Cherryfall began to relax as he patted the poultice into place, and the comfrey juices sank into her wound. That feels so good, she murmured. You should get some sleep, Jayfeather told her when the poultice was in place. Turning to Alderpaw, he added, and you're done for the day. Go and get something to eat. Thanks, Jayfeather. Alderpaw slipped out of the den, his legs shaky with exhaustion. Spotting his sister over by the fresh kill pile, he padded across to join her. Come and share this bowl, Sparkpaw invited him as he drew near. I caught it when I went hunting with Cherryfall earlier today. Doesn't it look good? Alderpaw felt his jaws watering as he looked at the plump piece of prey, and he realized that his belly was bawling with hunger. At the same time, a hot wave of embarrassment flooded through his pelt. I freaked out when I saw Cherryfall's wound, he confessed. I couldn't do a simple thing like finding cobwebs. He let out a long sigh. How am I going to be a good medicine cat if I freeze up at the sight of blood? Oh, mouse dung, Sparkpaw mewed cheerfully. I don't know why any cat would want to be a medicine cat, but I was really impressed with the way you stopped Cherryfall's wound bleeding. You just need to trust yourself, she went on, brushing her tail against Alderpaw's side. The way I do when I'm hunting. It's when you stop to worry that you miss your prey. And it was the same thing with the cobweb. But then you did the right thing. So I think in the end, you'll be a pretty good medicine cat. Do you really believe that? Alderpaw asked. Sparkpaw gave him a nudge. Of course I do, you daft furball. Taking a bite of the succulent vole. Alderpaw realized that he was beginning to feel better. Aw, that's nice. Hi, my keyboard for my pets. A little slow response. Hi, working on Ghost Pokemon Junk Journal. Ooh. Junk Journal. So let me read Warlock said. Later, but I have a ton of resources. The army gaming for jobs resume. Ooh. I think I'm okay for now because I have the the resources. Career managers is the thing. Yeah. I have a career coach that gives me a lot of resources too. So I think I should be good for now. I just finished a workshop about like resume writing, so I have a new resume written up. So I think I'm good on that regard. But if I do need desperate help, then I know who to turn to. Chapter 6. When Alderpaw arrived at the medicine cat's den the following morning, he saw that Leafpool had returned and was giving Cherryfall's wounds a good sniff. "That looks fine," she told the ginger she-cat, "but you can tell Squirrelflight you're off warrior duties for today. Go to your den and rest." Cherryfall dipped her head in thanks and brushed past Alderpaw on her way out of the den. "Hi, Leafpool," Alderpaw meowed. "How's Little Cloud?" Leafpool straightened up. "Better," she replied. "He just had a touch of white cough. I'm still worried about him, though. He's getting older, and there's no cat in ShadowClan to help him." Are they gonna move Alderpaw to ThunderClan? I mean, to ShadowClan? No way, right? Wait, what was the prophecy? Scrolling up to read the prophecy again. Prophecy. Embrace what you find in the shadows, for only they can clear the sky. Maybe not. Maybe I'm making that up. Also, I lost my spot. Chapter 4? 5? Chapter 5, I think. Chapter 5. Oh, no, chapter 6. Nice. Surely StarClan must have sent a sign to some cat, Alderpaw murmured. Huh. Jayfeather turned from where he was sorting herbs at the back of the den. ShadowClan cats are so keen to be warriors that they may not pay attention to any signs. I know how they feel, Alderpaw told himself, even though he was becoming more comfortable in his new life. Anyway, Leafpool mewed, you'll meet Little Cloud and the other medicine cats tonight. It's time for the half-moon meeting at the moon pool. Alderpaw stiffened. The medicine cats had all seemed so important when he'd seen them at the gathering, giving the prophecy to the clans. What will I say to them? I don't feel like I really belong with them. At the same time, a tingle of excitement ran through his pelt. No cat besides the medicine cats knows what happens at their meetings. What will we do there? He asked. You'll find out, Jayfeather told him. Now, what about doing some work? We're almost out of catmint since you took some over to ShadowClan, he added, narrowing his eyes at Leafpool. Do you want me to collect some from the two-leg nest? Alderpaw offered. No. Jayfeather growled with a lash of his tail. Moles have been digging through our herb patch, but they've made a real mess of it. Moles! He spat, digging his claws into the ground. I'd strip the pelt off of every last one of them. He's so filled with rage. Like Bakugo. Don't get so worked up. Leafpool brushed her tail along Jayfeather's side. We can replant the herbs. Jayfeather gave an ill-tempered grunt. And meanwhile, we're short of catmint just when Leaffall's coming and we're likely to get more green cough. We'll have to cross ShadowClan territory to get catmint from the two-leg garden in RiverClan. Alderpaw was surprised and a little disconcerted. But you scolded Sparkpaw because she and Cherryfall and Sorrelstripe were going to the two-leg nests, he reminded Jayfeather. It was Leafpool who replied, Rules are different for the medicine cats. Besides, any cat can cross territory if they stay within 3 fox lengths to the lake. So Jayfeather just likes to be cranky, Alderpaw thought. I guess I knew that already. Anyway, Leafpool went on briskly. I've just spent time with ShadowClan, helping Little Cloud. They're not going to bother me, are they? Alderpaw, you and I will go together. When Leafpool and Alderpaw crossed at the stream where the Shadow Clan border, there was a strong, fresh scent of Shadow Clan cats. Before they had taken many paw steps along the lakeshore, a Shadow Clan patrol emerged from the bushes above the beach. Tigerheart, Leafpool mewed politely, tipping her head to the dark tabby Ton, who was in the lead. How's the prey running in Shadow Clan? Why do you want to know that? The tabby warrior challenged her. You're not hoping to steal some of it, are you? Bruh. Alderpaw felt his neck fur bristling at the hostile tone, but Leafpool was unmoved. You know better than that, Tigerheart, she responded. Tigerheart's tail tip twitched to and fro. I know you're always meddling in Shadow Clan business, he meowed, just like that ThunderClan cat. Yeah, especially one related to Firestar. One of the other Shadow Clan cats put in, a hefty brown Tom with a tuft of fur at the top of his head. Spike Fur, I'm proud that Firestar was my father. Leafpool's tone was still calm. Alderpaw was so riveted by this exchange, wondering if it was going to end in a fight, that he hadn't paid much attention to the rest of the Shadow Clan patrol. He jumped, startled, as one of them came up and nudged him. Turning, he recognized Needlepaw. Oh, it's you, he mewed, not sure if he was pleased to see her. Hi, Alderpaw. Needlepaw gave him a friendly nod. I thought I might be seeing you again soon. You've met Sleekpaw, and this other furball is Yarrowpaw. Furball yourself, the third apprentice growled. Okay, Leafpool. Tigerheart took a pace back. Alderpaw had missed the next part of the conversation, but he was relieved that the Shadow Clan Tom sounded less hostile. You can pass, he went on, but we'll escort you to the edge of our territory. Leafpool dipped her head in acknowledgement. Thank you. The whole patrol set off along the edge of the lake, with Leafpool and Tigerheart at the lead. The apprentices brought up the rear. Needlepaw padded alongside beside Alderpaw. Toms, she muttered. Annie, always making trouble. Spikefur's a real pain in the tail. She hopped along on three paws while she used the fourth to ruffle the fur on her head, and spoke in Spikefaw's lower tone.
Go and fetch me more mouse, lousy apprentice, and catch me a blackbird while you're at it.
Alderpaw stifled a snort of laughter. You shouldn't talk like that about your mentor. He's not my mentor, thanks, StarClan. Needlepaw meowed. I'm Tawny Pelt's apprentice, but she's helping reinforce the camp walls today, so I get to go with Spikefur. She rolled her eyes. I'm so lucky. Anyway, she went on, what are you doing here with Leafpool? She's my mentor now, Alderpaw replied. We're going to... You're a medicine cat apprentice? Needlepaw's eyes stretched wide with amazement. You didn't say that when we met before. I wasn't then, Alderpaw explained. Wow, that's really cool. Needlepaw sounded impressed. You must get to learn lots of stuff. Oh, yes, lots. Different kinds of herbs and what they're used for and how to stop wounds from bleeding. For the first time, Alderpaw found himself boasting, proud of his position as a medicine cat apprentice. Tonight, Leafpool's taking me to the Moonpool to meet with StarClan, he finished. That's awesome, Needlepaw breathed out. Do you have visions? Do you know anything special about the prophecy? Alderpaw shook his head. I did have a sort of weird dream, he began. Alderpaw! Leafpool glanced back and gestured with her tail for Alderpaw to come and walk beside her. Embarrassed, Alderpaw realized he had almost gotten carried away and told Needlepaw stuff he wasn't supposed to mention. For the rest of their journey across Shadow Clan territory, he padded in silence beside his mentor. At the far border, Tigerheart waved his tail towards Leafpool and Alderpaw. You have permission to cross back to your own clan, he meowed loftily. Don't take too long about it. Likely want to hang out in your territory, Alderpaw thought. Goodbye, Alderpaw. Needlepaw gave him a friendly swipe around the ear with her tail. I'll be seeing you. Alderpaw wasn't sure if he was looking forward to that or not. The half-moon shed a bright light over the forest as Jayfeather, Leafpool, and Alderpaw trekked alongside the stream that separated ThunderClan from WindClan. Alderpaw felt every hair on his pelt rise across the set of ThunderClan scent markers, and he realized that they were leaving behind not just their own territories, but the territories of all the clans, and setting off into unexplored hills. Is it much further? He panted. Oh yeah, We have a long way to go yet, Jayfeather told him. Alderpaw sighed, half excited and half afraid. They had left the sheltering trees behind, and now rolling moorland stretched away in all directions, bare except for clumps of gorse or reeds growing around a pool. How did the medicine cats know to come up here to the moon pool? Alderpaw asked. Actually, I was the cat who found it. Leafpool sounded slightly embarrassed. Spotted Leaf, she was a ThunderClan medicine cat many seasons ago when Firestar first came to the forest, came from StarClan to show me the way. Wow, that means you're really special, Alderpaw mewed admiringly. Leafpool ducked her head. Not at all. Just the right cat in the right place. Besides, lots of cats gathered at the moon pool before the clans ever came to the lake. Will we meet them? Alderpaw blinked nervously. You may meet them in StarClan, Leafpool replied, but they left this place many, many seasons ago. Alderpaw shivered. That's weird. The journey to the moon pool seemed to take forever. Then, scrambling up a steep slope, Alderpaw began to realize he could hear the sound of falling water from somewhere up ahead. We're almost there, Leafpool told him. Leafpool kept climbing upwards, and Alderpaw padded after her. Jayfeather brought up the rear, glancing back to make sure he was okay. Alderpaw was impressed to notice how he set his paws instinctively in the right places. It was as though he knew this path so well that he didn't need to see it. Before they reached the top of the slope, Alderpaw heard a yowling cry coming from way back behind them. He paused and looked back to see all the other medicine cats, tiny in the distance, making their way along the path. We'll wait for them, Leafpool mewed, standing at Alderpaw's shoulder. As the other cats drew closer, Alderpaw could pick out each one and recognize them. Kessler Fright, the molted gray Tom from WindClan, was in the lead. Mothwing followed beside him, with her apprentice, Willowshine, beside her. Last of all came Little Cloud. The old Tom was obviously finding the climb strenuous, and he stood panting when he reached the place where Alderpaw and the others were waiting. Greetings, Mothwing meowed, dipping her head politely, then giving Alderpaw a curious glance. Who's this, Leafpool? This is Alderpaw, Leafpool replied. He's our new apprentice. A murmur of surprise came from the other medicine cats. Really? Kessler Flight responded. I should have thought the last thing ThunderClan needed was another medicine cat. We don't question the will of StarClan, Leafpool replied levelly, while Jayfeather flicked his whiskers irritably. Alderpaw tried not to feel intimidated. It helped when Willowshine gave him a kind look and mewed. I'm sure there can never be too many cats taking care of the clans. Little Cloud said nothing, though. Alderpaw thought he was looking slightly envious. I hope StarClan sends him an apprentice soon. Are we doing this, or are we just going to stand here all night? Jayfeather asked testily. He moved into the leads, springing confidently up the last part of the slope. At the top, a thick line of bushes barred their path. Jayfeather and Leafpool pushed their way through without hesitation. Alderpaw paused for a moment, then struggled through the stiff branches, pausing to shake his coat when he emerged on the other side. Then he looked up, and he drew in his breath in a soundless gasp of astonishment. In front of the line of bushes, the ground dropped away into a deep hollow. A spring of water gushed from the rocks opposite, plunging down through the moss and ferns into a pool. The surface of the water glittered with the broken reflections of moon and stars. Alderpaw thought he had never seen anything so beautiful. It's amazing, isn't it? Willowshine murmured, emerging from the bushes at his side. I'll never forget the first time I saw it, and it still takes my breath away. Leafpool and Jayfeather had already begun to pad down the spiraling path that led to the pool. Alderpaw followed them, awestruck as his paws slid into the impressions made by those ancient cats long ago. His pelt tingled. The ancient cats who had left many, many seasons ago. The other medicine cats followed him down the path and gathered at the edge of the pool. Leafpool beckoned Alderpaw to come and stand beside her. Alderpaw, she meowed, is it your wish to share the deepest knowledge of StarClan? As a ThunderClan medicine cat, this is it, Alderpaw thought. It is. he replied, his voice sounding as if a claw were scratching in his throat. Leafpool gazed up at the stars, her amber eyes glowing like small fires in the light. "Warriors of Star Clan," she began, "I present to you this apprentice. He has chosen the path of Medicine Cat. Grant him your wisdom and insight so that he may understand your ways and heal his clan in accordance with your will." Alderpaw stood there blinking, aware that something tremendous was happening. He almost thought he could see the assembly of starry warriors seated around him on the slopes of the hollow. Then Leafpool touched his shoulder with her tail. "Crouch down beside the water, lap a few drops, and then touch the surface with your nose," she instructed. As Alderpaw obeyed, he could see the other medicine cats around the moon pool, their noses lowering to the water. It felt icy cold when he lapped at it, and when he touched his nose to it, he thought that an icicle was stabbing him in his heart. Fighting back a yowl, he closed his eyes and waited. Alderpaw wasn't aware of the passage of time, but he found himself walking alongside a shallow, sparkling stream with no clear idea of how he had gotten there. Lush vegetation grew on the banks, and the air was full of rich scents. Alderpaw wondered if he should be afraid, but he felt too peaceful, and he wandered on, enjoying the warmth of the sun on his pelt. After a little while, he saw a large Tom with a flame-colored pelt was walking along beside him. "Greetings," the Tom said. "I'm so happy to finally meet one of Squirrelflight's kids." Alderpaw's belly lurched as he realized that this must be Firestar, his mother's famous father, who died in the great battle before he and his sister were born. Alderpaw would have expected to be overcome with shyness in the presence of such an awesome cat, but instead he felt an ease with him right away. There was something about Firestar that seemed oddly familiar. Is this the same cat I had that weird dream about? "Come," Firestar meowed, leading Alderpaw further along the stream until they reached a place where the water spread out into a pool. Firestar motioned to Alderpaw to stand right at the edge. "Look into the water," he instructed. At first, all Alderpaw could see was the pebbly bottom of the pool, and a few tiny fish darting here and there. Then the water and the pebbles seemed to dissolve, and he found himself staring down into a deep gorge with a river edged by a bare, sandy rocks. Cats were moving here and there among the rocks, gathering into a ragged circle with one cat in the middle. "It's like I'm a bird looking down on it all." As if the bird were swooping lower, Alderpaw found himself suddenly much closer so that he could see the individual cats more clearly. The cat in the center of the circle was a molted brown and cream she-cat with a noble air, and she beckoned with her tail to some cat at the edge of the circle. Two cats moved forward, a powerful ginger and Tom and a small black and white she-cat. The brown and cream she-cat and the ginger Tom spoke to each other. Alderpaw felt frustrated. Although he could see, he couldn't hear what the cats were saying. Then the ginger Tom stepped back, and the older she-cat spoke to the younger one. And the younger one replied. Alderpaw suddenly realized what he was seeing. "It's a warrior ceremony!" Firestar touched his shoulder lightly with his tail. "Watch." The clan leader, for Alderpaw knew that was who the older she-cat must be, rested her muzzle on the new warrior's head, and the new warrior gave her leader's shoulder a respectful lick. The cats who were gathered around erupted into joyful yowls, pressing around their new warrior and brushing her pelt with their tails and muzzles. The young she-cat looked overwhelmed, but very happy. As the ceremony broke up, Alderpaw noticed a small silver tabby she-cat pad up to the clan leader and exchange a few words with her. Then the silver tabby looked up, and Alderpaw caught a flash of green eyes before the vision faded, and all he could see was the bottom of the pool again. It almost felt like she could see me. Trembling, Alderpaw backed away from the edge of the pool. "Firestar, who are they?" he asked urgently. "They look like clan cats. They were holding a warrior ceremony, just like clan cats, but they're not from any of the clans around the lake. Where are they? Are they cats from the past or the future? What are you trying to tell me?" Firestar dipped his head towards Alderpaw, his green eyes filled with meaning, but he did not reply to any of his questions. If he was trying to tell Alderpaw something without words, Alderpaw couldn't understand what it was. A moment later, a white mist drifted around him, blotting out the pool and the flame-colored figure of Firestar. Alderpaw found himself back beside the moon pool, with the other medicine cats beginning to wake all around him. Happiness thrilled through Alderpaw, warming him from ears to tail tip. I've had a vision! That proves I am meant to be a medicine cat. He opened his jaws to tell the other cats about it, but before he spoke, doubt crowded in on him. I don't know if it was a real vision. It could have been just a weird dream, like the one I had before. His doubts increased when none of the other cats said anything about they had seen. I'll keep my dream to myself for now, he decided, at least until I'm sure what it was.
What? They're supposed to discuss what...
Or at least each clan discusses what they had dreamed about, like with each other. Later. I'm surprised Jay Feather and Leafpool wouldn't, like, ask him. Immediately after he's, like, back.
Hi, Dark Eagle!
Streak. That's just three towards the ultimate goal of never having an ending streak. Is Elderpaw the name of Alderpaw? A-L-D-E-R paw. Alder. Aw, man, what do you mean? Oh, Elderpaw is a funny name. Could you imagine being born and you're called Elderpaw? This is my Kit, Elder Kit. He's wise beyond his years. Chapter 7. Alderpaw was alone in the medicine cat den, except for Briarlight, who was curled up in her nest asleep. She had such a restless, painful night, Leafpool had told him when he arrived in the den to start work. Try not to wake her. Jayfeather had straightened up from where he was bent over Briarlight, listening to her breathing. I think she'll be okay now. We're going into the forest to collect herbs, he added to Alderpaw. You can stay here and organize the store. Throw out anything that looks too withered to be useful. Now that the two medicine cats had gone, Alderpaw was left to get on with the boring job. But for once he didn't mind. It gave him a chance to think over his dream at the moon pool the night before. I'm sure it was just a dream, he assured himself. It's not even worthy of telling Jayfeather and Leafpool about. They'd think I was crazy. Instead, Alderpaw had decided to make himself useful. In the last few days, he had felt he was actually starting to get the hang of being a medicine cat. Maybe I'll be a good medicine cat after all, he told himself. Or at least I'll be good enough. Absorbed in separating the catmint from the tansy and in picking out the wrinkled juniper berries that had lost their healing juices, Alderpaw was starting to hear the paw steps of another cat approaching the den. He turned to see Cherryfall brush back the bramble screen and limp inside. Hi, he mewed, pointing with his tail at Briarlight and signaling to Cherryfall to keep quiet. He was glad to see her, though he didn't like the pained expression on her face. Is anything the matter? It's my paw, Cherryfall replied, holding it up. It hasn't healed yet, and it's still painful. Could you take a look at it? Sure, Alderpaw responded, but it's early days for it to heal. With a sigh of relief, Cherryfall lay on her side in a nest of moss and fern and stretched out her injured paw. Alderpaw examined it, giving it a good sniff and noting that the wound was clean and hadn't started bleeding again. He was especially careful to look for signs of infection that Jayfeather had told him about. It's not red, and it's not hot to the touch. It's not infected, he told Cherryfall. It's just a deep cut, and it's taking time to heal. He hesitated, then added, That's normal. I'm glad it's not serious, Cherryfall meowed. But is there anything you can give me to help the pain? It isn't terrible, but it's distracting me, and I want to get back to warrior duties. Alderpaw padded back to the store and began to look through the herbs, touching each one and trying to remember what they were for. There were a lot of different kinds, but he knew what he wanted to find. He was sure that comfrey root was what Cherryfall needed. He remembered chewing up the root for Apollos when they first brought Cherryfall back to camp, and Jayfeather had told him that comfrey root helped soothe pain of a wound. Soon he spotted the pile of black roots and bit off a piece, remembering the tangy taste from the last time he chewed it into Apollos. When it was mashed up fine, he spat it out and spread it on Cherryfall's wound. Cherryfall's pained expression faded, and a look of relief spread over her face. Alderpaw watched her carefully, thinking how important it was for a medicine cat to be aware of how other cats were feeling. I think it's already starting to work, Cherryfall mewed. After a moment, thanks, Alderpaw. I'm so glad to get rid of the pain. It's nothing, Alderpaw mumbled, embarrassed. Cherryfall got up, keeping her injured paw off the ground, and touched her nose to Alderpaw's ear. I'm so pleased you found your place as a medicine cat, she told him. Jayfeather and Leafpool will be very proud of you. Alderpaw watched Cherryfall as she left the den, feeling his pelt tingle with pride at her words. I've treated my first injury all on my own. Voices sounded from outside the den, and Alderpaw realized that Jayfeather had returned. He couldn't hear what he and Cherryfall were saying, but he could guess. Cherryfall must be telling Jayfeather what a great job I'm doing. But when Jayfeather entered the den with a bundle of yarrow in his jaws, his neck fur was bristling and his tail tip was twitching to and fro. Is it true what Cherryfall just told me? He demanded, dropping the herbs. Did you give out a remedy without asking? Alderpaw felt his heart plummeting and his whole pelt burning with shame as he realized he had managed to do the wrong thing again. Well, yes, he stammered, but Cherryfall said her wound hurt, and I remember you said a bolus of comfrey root would help. I chewed it up really well, just like you taught me. When Jayfeather made no comment, he added more desperately. I wouldn't have given her anything if I wasn't very, very sure I knew what it would do. But I was certain that's what comfrey root is for, and it helped. She felt so much better. Jayfeather let out a long growl deep in his throat. Yes, it will help with the pain, but sometimes pain is a warning sign. Telling a cat that something is wrong. What if Cherryfall had an infection and you dulled the pain? Then her infection would have gotten worse, without any cat knowing. Infections can be dangerous. But... Alderpaw tried to protest, but he felt so guilty it was hard to get the words out. I checked for infections, and Cherryfall showed no signs of it. I was only trying to help, he thought. I didn't realize I could have made things worse. I'm so sorry, he mewed miserably. I never should have done it. I won't ever do it again. Jayfeather relaxed slightly, angling his ears towards the sleeping Briarlight, and Alderpaw realized that his voice had written on the last few words. You were right, Jayfeather conceded. I checked Cherryfall myself, and she didn't have an infection. But sometimes the signs can be really hard to spot, especially if a medicine cat is still learning. Which you will be for quite some time, until you've had more training. You should stick to doing only what Leafpool and I tell you. Alderpaw bowed his head. Okay, Jayfeather. So for now, Jayfeather went on more briskly, you can get some mouse bile and go do the elder's ticks. Alderpaw stifled a sigh. Yes, Jayfeather. When Alderpaw reached the elder's den under the hazel bushes, carrying a twig with a ball of bile-soaked moss dangling from the tip, only Sandstorm was there. Hi, she mewed, a friendly look in her green eyes. I'm glad to see you. Graystripe and Millie have gone for a walk, and Bertie is sunning himself somewhere. I've got a huge tick on my shoulder, just where I can't get at it. Alderpaw parted Sandstorm's fur to find the tick, then dabbed mouse bile on it. This time he couldn't suppress a sigh. To think that he was back on tick duty, just as if he had never become a medicine cat apprentice. Sandstorm wriggled her shoulders gratefully as the tick fell off. That's much better, Alderpaw. But there's something wrong, isn't there? Would it help to tell me about it? Alderpaw shook his head, embarrassed that he hadn't hidden his feelings. Sandstorm brushed her tail along his side. There's no shame in being sad sometimes, she mewed. No reason not to show it. And besides, she let out a faint meow of amusement. You're not very good at hiding it. Her joke made Alderpaw feel a little better. He kept searching her fur for more ticks as Sandstorm went on, talking to him in a gentle voice. You're my kin, and you should feel comfortable telling me things. Maybe I can help. And as the others aren't here just now, it can stay just between us. Alderpaw relaxed. He dabbed Mouse Bile on the tick he had just found, then set the twig down. I gave Cherry Fall a polus of comfrey root when Leafpool and Jayfeather were out, he confessed. Jayfeather was furious. Wow, Sandstorm exclaimed. What a dreadful thing to do. Bramblestar will certainly throw you out of the clan. For one horrible moment, Alderpaw thought she meant it. Then he realized that she was joking. You shouldn't feel bad, the old she-cat went on more seriously. You were trying to do your best, and you deserve praise for that. Now you'll know better for next time. Being an apprentice is all about learning and growing, and aren't you lucky to have the opportunity? And to have Leafpool and Jayfeather, such wise cats, to guide you? I don't want to disappoint them, Alderpaw stammered. Did Jayfeather seem upset? Sandstorm asked him. I don't mean cranky. Jayfeather is always cranky, but upset. Alderpaw thought about that for a moment. No, he meowed at last. He didn't. Because he just wants you to learn, the ginger she-cat went on, and you're doing that. You shouldn't expect to understand everything right away. You're thoughtful and cautious, and that will serve you well as a medicine cat. She really knows me so well, Alderpaw thought, beginning to feel a bit better. It's so good to have older, wiser cats give me advice. Is anything else bothering you? Sandstorm asked after a moment. Alderpaw's mind flashed back to the strange vision at the moon pool. I'm almost sure it was just a dream, but what if it was more? Sandstorm's guidance had inspired him, and the encouraging look in her eyes made him want to confide in her. Something happened last night at the moon pool, he began, and went on to tell her about his meeting with Firestar and how he had watched the unfamiliar clan in the water of the pool. It was so strange, he told Sandstorm. These other cats seem to live in a rocky gorge with a river running through it. Sounds like Sky Clan. And it looked like their leader was making a new warrior. Sandstorm narrowed her eyes, her green gaze suddenly intense. Describe these cats to me, she meowed. Tell me as much as you can remember. Well, Alderpaw began, the cat I thought was the leader was a cream and pale brown tabby she-cat with amber eyes. And there was a big powerful ginger tom, and a small silver gray tabby she-cat with dark gray paws and deep green eyes. He shivered. She looked up at me. It was like she knew I was there. Sandstorm jumped to her paws, her pelt bristling with excitement. I know those cats. They sound like Leafstar and her deputy, Sharpclaw. And the small silver tabby is Echo Song, their medicine cat. That's really weird, Alderpaw murmured. Why would I dream about real cats I've never met? Never even heard of? Sandstorm's green eyes glowed. That wasn't a dream. It was a vision. Italian person. What? There will be no invading in our world. Okay, I'm gonna keep reading. Pasta! Maybe that's true. Pasta invasion. Really? Alderpaw began to share the older cat's excitement. So, who are the cats that I saw? They are from another clan, Sky Clan, Sandstorm replied, and they may need our help. Alderpaw gaped at her. There was another clan he'd never heard of? Thank you for the hydrate! I have hydrated. He had to believe Sandstorm because he knew how wise she was, and he was excited to have had a vision, like a real medicine cat, but at the same time he felt that the vision was wasted on him. Why me? he blurted out. Why not? Sandstorm's voice was calm. If you weren't supposed to have the vision, you wouldn't have had it. StarClan chose you, and you must honor their choice. And that means you must tell Leafpool and Jayfeather. Alderpaw's belly lurched with nervousness. He shrank from the idea of telling his mentors. Jayfeather already thinks I'm doing stuff I'm not ready for. What will he think when I tell him about my vision? Won't he think this is more of the same? Jayfeather will claw my ears off, he muttered. Nonsense, Sandstorm mewed briskly. Alderpaw, you need to stop getting your tail in a twist and go tell others.
What the heck? Vietnam Today International. Oh, hello! What were you up to? Politics. You can do that? You can stream politics? Hello, Vietnam! Hope you're wonderful. I don't know why you picked me of all people to raid into, but I hope things are well.
Politics? Oh, I don't know how to pronounce her name. That would make sense that she would do it.
LOL.
Alright, let's keep going.
Kirch? Is it Kirch? Kirchy? Kirch? I always pronounce it as Kirch in my head, but maybe it's Kirch. Kirch. Something like that.
Alderpaw's paw steps dragged as he headed across the stone hollow to the medicine cat's den. By the time he reached it, Leafpool had returned and was bending over the sleeping Briarlight. I need to talk to you about something important, he began. Jayfeather twitched his whiskers. What now? Leafpool flicked his ear with her tail. Of course you can talk to us, Alderpaw, but let's go outside. Briarlight just woke up and ate something, and she's sleeping now again. And I don't want her disturbed. Make it quick, Jayfeather meowed. Outside the den, Alderpaw spoke in a low voice as he told his mentors about his vision at the moon pool. Sandstorm said she recognized those cats, he finished. To his amazement, Leafpool was gazing at him with glowing amber eyes, while Jayfeather clawed at the ground in his excitement. They're both really pleased, Alderpaw thought, not just Leafpool. Do you think this might be my first vision? He asked. No, Jayfeather responded. This wasn't your first vision. Remember when the medicine cats were given the prophecy from StarClan? Didn't I see you there? Alderpaw gazed at him in wonder. Maybe he really had seen Firestar before. That was a vision? Jayfeather rolled his eyes. StarClan give me strength. Yes, it was a vision, Leafpool replied, and that's why it was clear to us that you should become a medicine cat apprentice. Alderpaw, StarClan obviously has big plans for you. Alderpaw found that hard to take in. He felt so excited that he was tingling from nose to tail tip, and his claws flexed in and out. I wasn't chosen to be a medicine cat just because I was a terrible hunter. I was chosen because I have these special powers. Bro, you don't have any special powers right now. We'll have to go and discuss this with Bramblestar, Leafpool announced. Good. Alderpaw meowed, turning towards his leader's den. I can't wait to hear what Bramblestar thinks about this. Leafpool shook her head, while Jayfeather raised a paw to halt Alderpaw. No, we're going in alone, he rasped. You may have had the vision, but you're too inexperienced to discuss what it means. We'll tell you what happens. Alderpaw's sensation of being special faded. Oh, he muttered, feeling young and silly again. He stayed outside the den, watching Leafpool and Jayfeather as they headed towards the tumbled rocks that led up to the high ledge. I guess whenever my vision was trying to tell me, the older cats will take care of it. Okay, I kind of want to read up until chapter 10. We're on chapter 8 right now, so 2 more chapters? I think that might take us to 3 hours. Sorry, I punched the mic with my arm. Chapter 8. Left alone in the den, Alderpaw went back to the tasks of sorting dead dried herbs and putting away the fresh ones Leafpool and Jayfeather had brought back. Once his excitement had died down, he felt as if his pelt didn't quite fit him anymore. He wasn't sure that he wanted to be a cat who had important visions, and he wished he knew how Bramblestar would react to what Alderpaw's mentors were telling him. He had almost finished the task when he heard limping paw steps approaching the den. Oh no, that must be Cherryfall. Alderpaw had no idea what he would say to her. He didn't know whether to apologize about treating her without asking advice, or to ask how she was doing, or just ignore the whole thing. But when Cherryfall poked her head around the bramble screen, he had no chance to say anything. "Alderpaw," she blurted, "you have to come quickly. Sparkpaw's hurt." Terror tore through Alderpaw like a massive claw. Remembering what had happened when he treated Cherryfall, he wondered whether he should get the other medicine cats. "No, it's my sister. I have to help her now." "Show me where," he mewed to Cherryfall. Racing out of the den, he followed the ginger she cat towards the Shadow Clan border. They pelted through the forest, dodging around bramble thickets and leaping over fallen branches. As they drew closer, Alderpaw could hear his sister's agonized yowling. The sound grew louder as they barreled through a clump of ferns and emerged near the green-leaf two-leg place. Sparkpaw was lying in a heap at the foot of a tree. Hollytuff was crouched beside her, gently stroking her fur, while Ivypool was encouraging her to lap from a bunch of soaked moss. Both warriors stood up and took a pace back as Alderpaw bounded up to his littermate. "What happened?" he panted. "She was climbing on a thin branch, trying to catch a bird," Cherryfall explained. "She fell right out of the tree, and now her foreleg—" She winced, her voice dying away.
Ow!
Sparkpaw mewled, her whole body twisting with agony. Alderpaw started to shake at the sight of his sister. Bright, capable Sparkpaw, in such pain and distress. I've never seen her like this. She's always so confident and in control. Now that he was close enough, he could see her foreleg was pointing at an awkward angle. Not natural at all. His heart pounded as he remembered Purdy telling him a story about Cinderheart, how she had fallen from a tree and broken her leg, and how she had to spend moons in the medicine cat's den before she could use it again. "Please, Starkhan, don't let that happen to Sparkpaw." Steadying himself, Alderpaw crouched down beside his sister. "I have to examine your leg," he meowed. "It might hurt." Sparkpaw nodded. "Just do it," she mewed through clenched teeth. Alderpaw ran his paws over Sparkpaw's leg and shoulder. At once relief watched over him, like a warm tide. "It's not broken, only dislocated, and I know how to fix that." Leafpool had taught him what to do, telling him of when the same thing had happened to Berrynose when he was out hunting and had fallen over the edge of a rocky bank. Suddenly, Alderpaw felt much more confident. "Don't worry," he reassured Sparkpaw. He tried to sound sure of himself, even though his paws were shaking. "You're gonna feel much better very quickly." As he spoke, he saw Ivypool lean closer to Hollytuff and heard her whispering, "Does he really know what he's doing?" Hollytuff just shook her head uncertainly. Alderpaw hesitated for a moment. "Do I know?" Then Sparkpaw let out another yowl of pain, and he gave himself a mental shake. "Cherryfall," he directed. "Put your paw on her shoulder, just there. Ivypool and Hollytuff, keep her hind legs still. Don't worry, Sparkpaw," he added. "It'll be all over in the time it takes for you to catch a mouse." Bending over Sparkpaw, Alderpaw took hold of her injured leg with one paw and her shoulder with the other. "You can't overthink it," he remembered Leafpool saying. "Just do it quickly," with a forceful push. Just as his mentor had told him, Alderpaw forced his sister's leg back into its socket with a quick, sure motion. Sparkpaw convulsed under his paws and let out a shriek. But beneath her cry, Alderpaw heard out the pop as her leg slipped back into position. Did that do the trick? He wondered. He had heard gasps of horror from Ivypool and Hollytuff as if they thought he had made things worse. "You can let go of her now," he told the warriors. "Sparkpaw, try standing up." Sparkpaw blinked at him, then slowly staggered to her paws and began to pad back and forth. Alderpaw watched her, hardly daring to breathe. She still looked shaky, but she was limping a little, but she could put weight on the leg. "That's amazing!" Sparkpaw exclaimed, turning to her brother. "It feels so much better! Thanks so much, Alderpaw! You're turning out to be a great medicine cat." "You sure are," Cherryfall agreed. Hollytuff and Ivypool were looking impressed, too. Alderpaw licked his chest for an embarrassment as they congratulated him. though he reveled in the looks of approval. I'd better get back to my herbs, he mused shyly. Sparkpaw, you need to have Holly Leafpool or Jayfeather check out when you get back to camp. Alderpaw felt like his paws were hardly touching the ground as he padded back through the forest. I treated Sparkpaw's injury, and she's okay! Then he passed the old two-leg path, and he realized with a start that he had left without permission. His pelt prickled with anxiety. Though, as he drew close to the camp, he tried to throw off his worries. Maybe I can sneak back in without any cat noticing? But as he rounded an old tree stump and came within sight of the thorn barrier, he spotted Bramblestar waiting for him beside the entrance to the tunnel. Oh no. Alderpaw thought, Am I in trouble again? I shouldn't have left camp. And didn't Jayfeather just tell me I shouldn't be doing anything without asking him or Leafpool? I'm sorry, I'm really sorry, he burst out as he bounded up to Bramblestar. I won't. I don't know what you're apologizing for, Bramblestar interrupted with a confused look. I'm not here because you're in trouble. I need to talk to you because Jayfeather and Leafpool have told me about your vision. Startled, Alderpaw stretched his eyes wide. In all the stress of helping Sparkpaw, he had forgotten that his mentors were discussing that with Bramblestar. Let's sit over here. Bramblestar pointed with his tail at a shady spot underneath an arching clump of ferns. When both cats were comfortably settled, he went on. We think the vision means that you've been chosen for a very special quest. Alderpaw felt warm all over at the look of pride in his father's eyes, so that at first he didn't really take in what was being said. So, you must leave ThunderClan and go on this quest, Bramblestar added. Wait, a quest? Every hair on Alderpaw's pelt rose in shock at what his clan leader was telling him. But I can't, he gasped. Bramblestar curled his tail around to rest it on Alderpaw's shoulder. StarClan wouldn't have sent you the vision if you weren't ready, he meowed. We believe this vision you had was about the prophecy. As Sandstorm told you, the cats you saw are from another clan called SkyClan. Since the prophecy mentioned the sky clearing, we think that they may be in trouble. Jayfeather, Leafpool, and I agreed that you must go on a quest to find them. Jeez, that's far away. Alderpaw realized that he was gaping like a blackbird chick waiting for food. He tried hard to speak calmly and to ask sensible questions that would help him understand. Sandstorm told me that the cats I saw belonged to SkyClan, he began, but I don't see why they should need my help. How am I ever gonna find them? It's a long story. Bramblestar sat erect, with his tail curled around his paws, and looked down at Alderpaw. It began many, many seasons ago, in the old forest. SkyClan lived there too, along with the 4 clans that you know. Ah, SkyClan, even older than SkyClan. Wait, SkyClan that we learned from Dawn of the Clans, and then we lost, and then we've reunited again. So there were 5 clans? Alderpaw breathed out. Yes, but SkyClan lost their territory because Two Legs took it to build their own nests, and the other 4 clans refused to share their territory that was left. They drove SkyClan out of the forest. Oh my god, was Clear Sky part of that? That's rough, buddy. That's so unfair, Alderpaw exclaimed indignantly. Bramblestar bowed his head. The remaining clans were ashamed of what they had done, and afterwards they never spoke of SkyClan. Eventually all memories of them was lost. Then what happened to SkyClan? They traveled a long way to find, and finally came to the gorge where you saw them. Their clan thrived there for a while, but at last they were driven out. Oh wait, sorry, where I was. But at last they were driven out and scattered. So what I saw was a vision from the past? Alderpaw asked. His pelt was growing hot with anger at what SkyClan had suffered, and he dug his claws hard into the ground. Bramblestar shook his head. Back in the old forest. It was about the time that I became a warrior. Firestar was visited by the spirit of SkyClan, by the spirit of the SkyClan leader who had led his clan out of the forest. He charged Firestar with a quest to find the remnants of SkyClan and restore it. Wow, and 5-Star really did it? Sandstorm went with him. That's a lie. Wait, is it? No, she did go with him at the end. And she can tell you everything that happened, Bramblestar replied. But in the end, yes, they restored SkyClan and left the cats living by the warrior code in the gorge. So that's how Sandstorm recognized the cats I saw. Alderpaw meowed. Their leader, Leafstar, and the deputy Sharpclaw, and what was the medicine cat's name? Oh, Echosong. That's right, Bramblestar responded. I believe that SkyClan may need our help again. But listen, Alderpaw, what happened to SkyClan is such a secret that only 3 living cats know about it. Sandstorm and me, and now you. That means we can't tell any cat what your quest is really about. Not even Leafpool and Jayfeather. What? Technically, he already told them, though. Alderpaw stared at him, so stunned for the moment that he couldn't get any words out. You mean, he stammered at last. You mean there's a part of warrior history so secret that even the medicine cats don't know about? Bramblestar nodded. Only you and I and Sandstorm know the truth. Alderpaw took a moment to think about that. Why does it need to be a secret? He asked. Isn't it sort of dishonest to lie about the quest? You just need to have faith in me, Bramblestar mewed gently. Telling the truth now would do more harm than good. I know I'm trusting you with a huge responsibility, he added, but I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't think you were up to the task. Rising to his paws, he nuzzled the top of Alderpaw's head briefly, then padded back towards the camp. Alderpaw watched him go, a flood of emotions surging through him. The secrecy worried him, while at the same time he felt an intense curiosity to know what was going on, and whether SkyClan really needed ThunderClan's help. His anxiety that he might not be good enough to be entrusted with the task warred with the pride he felt that Bramblestar believed in him. Warred with, like war. Maybe Sparkpaw's right, he thought. She's always telling me that I overthink things. I'm just gonna focus on my father's faith in me, he decided at last, and hope that all the rest will fall into place. Ooh. I don't care what you say, Sandstorm hissed. I'm going on this quest, and that's final. This is chapter 9, sorry. It's out of the question, Bramblestar snapped back at her. I asked you here to tell Alderpaw all you know about SkyClan. I never intended you to go with him. Alderpaw shifted nervously from paw to paw on the sandy floor of Bramblestar's den. It was the day after his father had told him that he must go on the quest, but so far no decisions had been made about which cats would accompany him. And it doesn't look like I'll be leaving anytime soon, not if Bramblestar and Sandstorm keep on arguing. He had always believed that the two cats got along well together. Now they looked furious enough to claw each other's pelts off. And you may be clan leader, but you're acting like a mouse-brained apprentice. Sandstorm's neck fur was bristling with anger. I'm the only... Enough! Bramblestar lashed his tail. Sandstorm, you're an elder. You've made your contributions to the clan, and it's been a magnificent contribution. Now you deserve to have the rest of us take care of you. I want you safe in camp, not trasping about in unknown territory. That's exactly the point! Sandstorm's voice grew quieter, the words forced out through clenched teeth. Alderpaw was glad she wasn't glaring at him like she was glaring at Bramblestar. I'm the only living cat who has any idea how to find SkyClan's camp. And I'm the only one who has met the cats of SkyClan before. They're more likely to accept me than cats they've never laid eyes on. As she spoke, the anger in Bramblestar's face was fading, replaced with a thoughtful expression. I understand, he began uncertainly, but elders just don't. He broke off at the sound of a patter of paw steps approaching up the tumbled rocks. Alderpaw turned to see Squirrelflight at the entrance of the den. Bramblestar and Sandstorm exchanged a swift glance, and Alderpaw realized that Squirrelflight didn't know about SkyClan either. All the hunting patrols have gone out, she reported. I wanted to ask which warriors you've chosen to go with Alderpaw. He'll need a strong group of cats. I don't know where his paws will lead him, but I do know there'll be danger. I will be going with him, Sandstorm announced, before Brambleclaw Bramblestar could reply. Her green gaze flashed with triumph when Bramblestar reluctantly dipped his head in agreement, but Squirrelflight's expression was horrified. "Sandstorm, you can't!" she exclaimed. "It's bad enough having to let Alderpaw go. Do you think I want my kit and my mother off on a dangerous quest together? I couldn't bear it." "Dangerous?" Alderpaw thought, feeling more nervous still. "Squirrelflight, it'll be fine," Sandstorm meowed. "I may be old, but I'm still strong. And Alderpaw will be in a lot less danger if I go with him." "I hate to admit it, but she's right," Bramblestar agreed. Squirrelflight glanced sharply from her mother to Bramblestar and back again, her green eyes glittering. "Is there something you're not telling me?" she demanded. "You have to trust me," Bramblestar responded. A few tense heartbeats passed while Squirrelflight held Bramblestar's amber gaze. Then she sighed, her tail drooping. "I suppose I do." Without further argument, Bramblestar led the way out of the den and onto the high ledge. Squirrelflight stayed by his side, while Sandstorm and Alderpaw picked their way down the tumbled rocks to the floor of the camp. Let all that's not an old person. Let all cats old enough to catch their own prey join here beneath the high ledge for a clan meeting, Bramblestar yowled. All the cats in the clearing turned towards the high ledge. Leafpool and Jayfeather emerged from their dens and sat side by side in front of the bramble screen. Lilyheart and Daisy appeared from the nursery and settled themselves near the entrance, while Lilyheart's kits play wrestled around their paws. Cloudtail, Brightheart, and Dovewing slid out from the warrior's den and took their places at the foot of the rocky wall. Purdy broke off a story he was telling Snowbush and Ambermoon. I'll finish the rest later," he promised as he padded off to flop down beside Graystripe and Millie near the Elder's den. Alderpaw looked around for Sparkpaw and spotted her emerging from the thorn tunnel with Cherryfall and Molewhisker. "She's hardly limping at all," he told himself with a burst of pride. "I did a good job." All three cats were loaded with prey. They bounded across the camp to drop it on the fresh kill pile, then joined their clanmates to listen to Bramblestar. "Cats of ThunderClan," their leader began, "I have important news. Alderpaw has had a vision about the prophecy from StarClan. We think that it will help us find what will clear the sky, and so he must go on a quest to find the place that he saw in his dream. Because Sandstorm knows about some of what he saw in the vision, she will be going with him." Murmurs of amazement rose from the assembled cats at Bramblestar's words, and they exchanged glances alive with curiosity. Alderpaw thought that Graystripe and Millie looked especially shocked to hear that Sandstorm would be part of the quest. "Why Alderpaw and not one of the medicine cats?" Thornclaw asked, sounding faintly aggressive. Leafpool spoke up from her place in front of her den. "Alderpaw is a medicine cat, Thornclaw, and you know that as well as I do. As for why StarClan chose him," she shrugged, "I'm sure they knew what they're doing." "More importantly, why Sandstorm?" Brightheart asked, with an affectionate glance at the ginger she-cat. "She's an elder. She's earned her rest." Because I was afraid she would claw my ears off if I forbade her from going," Bramblestar responded dryly. "And I would have," Sandstorm muttered. "There are reasons why I believe Sandstorm is vital to the quest," Bramblestar went on. Now all that's left is to choose warriors to join the group." Several enthusiastic yowls greeted his words.
I'll go. Let me.
Sparkpaw scampered up to Alderpaw and pressed herself against his side, her eyes shining.
I'll come and help you,
she mewed. "Oh, thank you," Alderpaw responded. His relief at the thought of having his sister with him flooded over him. Then he noticed that Bramblestar and Squirrelflight up on the high ledge were exchanging dubious glances. Cherryfall, who had followed her apprentice, shook her head sternly. "Bramblestar decides who will go," she told Sparkpaw, "and he's not likely to choose an apprentice for a quest like this." Shaken, Alderpaw gazed up at Bramblestar. "Please," he begged desperately, "can't Sparkpaw come?" Bramblestar paused, clearly torn, while Squirrelflight leaned closer to him and murmured something into his ear. She looked horrified at the thought of both their kits risking themselves on this quest. The clan leader and his deputy spoke together quietly for a few heartbeats. Then Bramblestar turned back to the cats in the clearing. "Very well," he mewed. "Sparkpaw may go with you, and in that case," he added, raising his voice to be heard above Sparkpaw's squeal of triumph, Cherryfall and Mulewhisker will join the group as well. The two cats exchanged delighted glances. You leave at dawn tomorrow, Bramblestar finished, and may StarClan light your path. Ooh, Ash!
Elderpaw, come on! Wake up!
Sparkpaw's voice seemed to come from a long ways away. Elderpaw opened his eyes, blinked blearily, and made out her face right next to his, her green eyes gleaming in the shadow of their den.
Wake up!
She repeated, prodding him hard in the side. It's time to go! This is your quest, Mousebrain, and you're still asleep! Elderpaw stretched his jaws into a massive yawn and staggered to his paws. He had lain awake for so long the night before, thinking about the quest, that it felt like as if he had only been sleeping for a heartbeat. Following Sparkpaw, he scrambled through the ferns that shaded the apprentice's den and headed out into the clearing, holding his head and tail high to hide how nervous he felt. The dawn air was damp and chilly, striking deep into Elderpaw's fur. Above his head, the sky was washed with the pale light of dawn, and a faint breeze was rustling the trees on top of the hollow. It seemed to Elderpaw that the whole of ThunderClan was out in the clearing. Most of them clustered around the medicine cat's den. Their excited murmurs sounded like the buzzing of a whole colony of bees. Elderpaw and Sparkpaw pushed their way through the crowd to join Jayfeather and Leafpool outside their den. Cherryfall, Mulewhisker, and Sandstorm were already waiting there, and Leafpool was distributing small leaf wraps of herbs to them. There you are! Leafpool mewed to the two apprentices. Elderpaw had expected to be scolded for being late, but for once Jayfeather sounded friendly. Come and have some traveling herbs. Leafpool set down 2 more leaf wraps in front of Elderpaw and Sparkpaw. Elderpaw delicately separated the herbs with one paw, studying them carefully. That's sorrel to quench thirst. Jayfeather identified the herbs before sniffing at each one. Daisy to keep your joints supple, and, he broke off, then added, I guess you know all this. You're really starting to learn your herbs. Chamomile to ease tiredness, and burnet for strength. Elderpaw identified the other 2 happy herbs in the mixture. The other 2 herbs in the mixture. He was happy at Jayfeather's praise. He and Leafpool have been treating me differently since they talked to Bramblestar about my vision, he reflected. It's almost as if they know about... As they think there's more to the quest than they know about, and they believe I know the truth. He suppressed a shiver, and of course, I do know.
Thank you for the follow, Merlin Tira.
Jayfeather nodded at Elderpaw's accurate description. Good. We give these herbs to every cat who needs to travel. They'll keep you going even if you don't have the chance to hunt. They taste weird, Sparkpaw commented as she licked up her share. Jayfeather rolled his eyes, but said nothing. While Elderpaw was eating his share of the herbs, he noticed that Bramblestar had appeared and had drawn Sandstorm away from the other questing cats. The 2 of them were having a quiet conversation, their expression serious. Elderpaw caught a few words.
Hi, Max boy.
If this secret gets out, it could be devastating for the clans, Bramblestar meowed. But how did I do her voice? But StarClan gave Elderpaw this vision, Sandstorm began. Elderpaw lost the rest of what she said as the cats moved away. Uneasiness stirred in Elderpaw's belly. This was his own quest, and yet there was so much about it that he didn't understand. And suppose I give away the secret about SkyClan? I wouldn't mean to, but what would happen then? He heaved a massive sigh. At least Sandstorm's coming with us, and she can advise me. Are they gonna debrief the rest of the questing cats? I mean, they're gonna find out when they find them. What? At last, Bramblestar stepped back from Sandstorm with a nod of agreement, and he bounded across the camp to climb up onto the high ledge. Sandstorm padded over to Elderpaw and rubbed her cheek against his, her green eyes shining with pride in him. You look worried, she murmured. I heard part of what you and Bramblestar were saying, Elderpaw confessed. It sounded like he doesn't trust me. Nonsense, Sandstorm responded. It's not that Bramblestar doesn't want you to know about SkyClan. He doesn't want any cat to know. It's not his feelings about you. It's his guilt about what the 4 clans allowed to happen to SkyClan. But that was seasons and seasons before Bramblestar was born, Elderpaw thought. Why should he feel bad about it? It wasn't his fault. I'm not sure I understand, he mewed. Maybe you will in time, Sandstorm responded. Alderpaw dipped his head respectfully. Thank you, Sandstorm. I'm glad you're coming with us. Cats of ThunderClan, Bramblestar called from the High Stone. Alderpaw has had an important vision, and this vision is to set him off on a quest that, I predict, will prove as important to our clan as the one that Dovewing undertook as an apprentice. When the drought came and she saved our lake. Devlin raised her tail proudly. Alderpaw was aware of every cat turning to stare at him. He was startled to see the respect and admiration in their eyes. He ducked his head in embarrassment and stared at his paws. I really don't deserve this. Alderpaw has big imposter syndrome. The medicine cat prophecy told us that... The medicine cat's prophecy told us that unless we embrace what we find in the shadows, the sky will never clear. Alderpaw's vision gives us hope that the cats of ThunderClan can find what lies in the shadows, and if so, that our clan will prosper. The whole of ThunderClan erupted in enthusiastic yowling. Alderpaw! Alderpaw! Alderpaw froze, almost wishing that a big owl would swoop down and carry him off. Then Sparkpaw gave him a nudge. Come on, Slow-mo, she meowed, giving him an affectionate glance. It's time to go. Alderpaw straightened, bracing himself. I'm glad you're with me, Sparkpaw, he murmured. To his relief, Sandstorm took the lead as the other questing cats headed for the Thorn Tunnel. The rest of ThunderClan padded along with them, calling out their good wishes. Best of luck, Alderpaw! Keep safe! May StarClan light your path! At the last moment, before Alderpaw and Sparkpaw stepped into the tunnel, Squirrelflight bounded up to them. Alderpaw saw fear in her eyes, but her voice was brisk as she meowed. Don't you dare get yourselves killed! I want to hear all about it when you get back. We'll be careful, Alderpaw promised. I'll look after him, Sparkpaw added with an impudent glance at her littermate. Squirrelflight touched noses with each of her kits, then took a pace back. Alderpaw was aware of her gaze on him until he headed into the tunnel. This is it. The quest has really begun. Oh, I thought that was the end of the chapter, but it wasn't. The sun was rising as Alderpaw's group headed through the forest towards the lake. Strong rays of sunlight striking through the trees and making patterns on the forest floor. Alderpaw remembered how vast and frightening the territory had seemed when he first left the camp. Now he found it familiar and safe. How long will this quest take? Sparkpaw asked, bouncing along at his side. Where's the place you saw? I want to know more about your dream. No, wait, your vision. I have no idea where the place is or how far it is, Alderpaw replied, feeling a prickle in his pelt at his littermate's question. And I can't really talk about it. It's medicine cat stuff. Oh, come on. You can tell me. Were there cats in your vision? What did they look like? What did they say? She persisted, her eyes sparkling eagerly. Alderpaw's nervousness increased under the flood of questions until he felt like he had rats gnawing at his belly. He wished he could tell her the truth to the other. He could tell the truth to the other cats. It felt really awkward having to lie, especially to Sparkpaw. I've never kept secrets from her before. They should tell them at this point to prepare them for what they're gonna find out. He staggered sideways when Sparkpaw gave him a hard prod in his side. What's wrong with you? She asked crossly. I'm only trying to help. I want to find what lies in the shadows and save ThunderClan. So how do you know your vision got something to do with the prophecy, huh? Sparkpaw, stop nagging your brother. Sandstorm meowed tartly, pausing to let the younger cats come up with her. That's their grandma you're talking. You're questing with your grandma. You heard him. It's medicine cat business. Sparkpaw glared for a couple of heartbeats, then shrugged, relaxing. Okay, I'll find out soon enough anyway. She bounded over to Cherryfall, who had moved into the lead. What do you think? She asked. What does Alderpaw's vision mean? Alderpaw let out a sigh of relief. He was secretly pleased that Sparkpaw hadn't been cowed by the rebuke. He felt bad enough for hiding things from her without getting her into trouble as well. I'd answer that better if I knew what the vision was, Cherryfall replied patiently. Wouldn't we all? Sparkpaw responded, flicking a glance at her brother.
But you must have some ideas, Cherryfall. What do you think we'll find at the end of the quest?
What we need to, I guess, Cherryfall mewed. Something that'll help clear the sky, Mole Whisker added. Then he muttered, whatever that means.
I think it might mean we find some new hunting grounds, Sparkpaw announced. I hope it does. Then we...
She broke off as they came to the edge of a clearing where a squirrel was sitting upright among the grass, nibbling at something held in its front paws. Instantly, Sparkpaw darted off, her tail flowing out behind her. But the squirrel was too fast even for her. Spotting her at once, it raced for the nearest tree, swarmed up the trunk, and vanished into the branches. A few leaves drifted down around Sparkpaw, who stood looking up with a frustrated expression on her face.
We all know you're a quick learner, Cherryfall mewed teasingly at Sparkpaw,
as Sparkpaw returned to the group with her tail drooping.
But do you really need a new hunting ground already? It seems like you still have something to learn on the one we have.
She suppressed a murmur of laughter. Sparkpaw didn't respond, only giving her chest fur a few furious licks to cover up her embarrassment. For a moment, Alderpaw felt bad for her. He knew exactly how it felt to lose prey.
Well, I think we should stop and hunt for a while, Sparkpaw meowed. There's a lot of prey here, and who knows how much there'll be once we've left our territory.
No, I think we should just keep going and hunt later, Alderpaw objected. He guessed that Sparkpaw just wanted another chance to prove what an awesome hunter she was. We have a long way to go. And thunder paths to cross, Sandstorm added. Graystripe helped me work out a route so that we don't have to cross the mountains, but that it means more danger from two-legs and monsters.
Huh, thunder paths, Sparkpaw sniffed dismissively. Pretty told me all about them. They're no big deal.
No big deal? Sandstorm's neck fur began to bristle. Are you mouse-brained? Cats have died on thunder paths.
Well, I still think we ought to hunt now, Sparkpaw retorted, bristling in turn. Last time I checked, we can't fill up on herbs and bits of chewed-up bark.
Alderpaw lashed his tail in frustration. I'm supposed to be in charge, but Sparkpaw still thinks she can boss me around, and she's arguing with an elder. He drew his lips back in the beginning of a snarl, ready to snap at his sister, but Sandstorm forestalled him, her neck fur lying flat again and her voice calm. Sparkpaw, even though you're both young, cats in training, this is Alderpaw's quest and his vision. You need to listen to him. He's right. We should continue on, not stop to hunt before we've even left our own territory. Sparkpaw ducked her head, her tail drooping. Fine, she muttered. Sorry. Alderpaw puffed out his chest, pleased that Sandstorm had backed him up and announced that he was the leader. All the same, he didn't like to see his sister miserable. As they set out again, he brushed his tail along her side. It's okay, he whispered. They emerged from the trees on the lakeshore not far from the stream that marked the border with WindClan. Alderpaw had been this way before, when they'd gone to the gathering, and he felt quite confident as he splashed through the shallow water and led the way alongside the lake. With his clanmates clustered closely around him, Alderpaw glanced up to see if any of the leggy WindClan warriors were in sight, but nothing moved on the bare hillside. Good, Mole Whisker murmured. I just as soon as get away without WindClan knowing we're gone. Starclan knows what rumors start if any cats saw us. Sandstorm nodded. They might even follow us. Come on, Alderpaw, pick up the pace a bit. Alderpaw sped up to a fast lope along the pebbly lakeshore, and his clanmates followed him until they reached the WindClan border near the horse place. Now and again he cast swift glances at the moor, and once he thought he saw a flicker of movement among some gorse bushes, but no cat emerged to challenge them. When they crossed the border and stood near the horse place, Alderpaw halted. He felt a fluttering in his belly. You'd better leave now, Sandstorm, he meowed. You're the only one of us who's been this way before. Sandstorm nodded. We have to climb the ridge, she responded, pointing upward with her tail to where a steep hill dotted here and there with thickets of trees led to a bare ridge many foxlinks above their head. I'll never forget the night we arrived here, she murmured, her green eyes deep with memory. We climbed that ridge from the other side, and we had no idea where StarClan was leading us. Then we reached the top and saw the lake, and the spirits of our warrior ancestors reflected in the water. She sighed. It was one of the most wonderful nights of my life. She paused for a moment, then gave her pelt a shake. Let's go. Alderpaw and the others followed Sandstorm on the tough climb to the ridge. She led them past the clustered two-leg dens of the horse place, and alongside a fence made of some shiny two-leg stuff. "Look!" Sparkpaw whispered excitedly to Adlerpaw. "Horses!" Alderpaw recognized the huge animals from how Daisy had described them in the nursery. There were two of them, one dark brown and one molted gray, standing together in the shade of a tree, gently whisking their tails to and fro. "They're not dangerous unless you bother them," Sandstorm mewed briskly, "and they won't come to this side of the fence." All the same, Alderpaw was relieved when they left the horses behind and scrambled up the last few tail links on top of the ridge. Reaching it, he halted, his paws frozen to the ground. "Wow!" Sparkpaw breathed out, coming to stand beside him. "I didn't know the world was so big." Gazing out in front of him, Alderpaw saw that the ground fell away sharply, sweeping down into a wide valley with stretches of woodland and what looked like a hard black snake winding across it. Beyond it were masses of trees and huddled dens of enormous two-leg place, far bigger than the one by the lake where they had gone to collect catmint, and fields and hills stretching away on every side until they became hazy with distance. A shiver passed through Alderpaw, as if he were being stabbed with masses of icicles, all at once. Glancing back, he could still see the lake with the clan territories around it, the only place he had known his whole life. Ahead, everything was unknown. It was even more frightening than his journey to the moon pool, because then he had been following a path the other medicine cats had traveled before him. Now he was taking his clanmates where there were no familiar paths. "Can you see the place in your vision?" Sparkpaw asked him. Her eyes were bright with excitement as she took out the vast landscape. Alderpaw peered around, trying to make out the rocks of a gorge, but it was Sandstorm who replied. "Of course not. That place is much too far away." "Great Star Clan!" Sparkpaw squeaked. "You mean there's more of it?" "Much more," Sandstorm told her, "and the sooner we get going, the sooner we'll arrive. Come on, I'd like to cross the thunder path down there before nightfall." Alderpaw realized she meant the black snake thing. It was so different from the little thunder path that ended at the lake, separating Shadow Clan territory from River Clan. Glittering objects, which looked like tiny beetles at this distance, were speeding back and forth along its length. "When we get there," Sandstorm went on, "you will not cross it before I tell you. Is that quite clear?" she added, with a hard look at Sparkpaw. Sparkpaw nodded, as cheerful as ever after her earlier scolding. "Sure, Sandstorm." With Sandstorm in the lead, the 5 cats headed down the slope and soon came to a wide stretch of woodland. Even though it wasn't as thick as the forest, Alderpaw was grateful to be back under the shade of trees, enjoying the warm scents and the long grass under paw. Gradually, he became aware of voices from somewhere up ahead. But as they grew louder, he realized that they were not voices of cats, or any other animal he had come across before. The hairs on his pelt began to rise. Sandstorm halted, raising her tail as a sign for the others to do the same. "Two legs!" she hissed. "Really?" Sparkpaw's eyes were alight with interest. "Can we go see?" Sandstorm hesitated. "It's not a bad idea for you to get an idea of what they're like," she replied at last. "But we're not here to gawk at two legs. Don't you forget it." More cautiously, she led the way forward. Alderpaw had to admit that he was just as curious as his sister. So far, he had only glimpsed two legs now and again, mostly near green-leafed two-leg places, and always from a distance. He had never heard their rambunctious voices, or gotten close enough to discover what they were really like. Skirting a bramble thicket, Sandstorm stood screened behind a clump of ferns and beckoned with her tail. Okay, come and look, but don't let them know you're there." I have to sneeze. Alderpaw crept forward, with Sparkpaw by his side, and peered through the ferns. A group of 5 two-legs, all different sizes, were sitting in a clearing. Just beyond them was a stretch of ground covered by the black thunderpath stuff. With one of the glittering things, this one bright red, crouched under a tree. "What's that?" he whispered to Sandstorm. "A monster," Sandstorm murmured in reply. "They'll kill you if they catch you with those big black paws. But that one looks like it's asleep, so it's probably safe for now." "So what are the two legs sitting on?" Sparkpaw asked. "They look like tree trunks, but sort of flat." Alderpaw thought that Alderpaw thought that was a good description. There was a bigger flat trunk too, with big leaf wraps scattered upon it. They must have held prey because the two legs were stuffing something into their mouths. Sparkpaw passed her tongue over her jaws. I'm hungry, she complained, and whatever that is, it smells good. Alderpaw's pelt bristled with fear to see the two legs so close, to hear their harsh voices, and to pick up their weird scent. But he was fascinated too. They have hardly ever any fur, he murmured. Are they sick? I remember Leafpool telling me about a sickness that made cats lose their fur, but these two legs all seem to have it. Turning to Sandstorm, he asked, why don't their medicine two legs help them? Sandstorm's green eyes were gleaming with amusement. They're not sick, she explained. That's just what two legs look like. And they look pretty stupid, Alderpaw thought. Hi, Cecile K. Kirkle? Cecile Kirkle? Hello, welcome! What were you? You were ASMRing, but what were you up to in the ASMRing? Hi, Winterbloom! Hi, Cecile! Hi, Litaru! Let me read your... Ooh, horror focused. Nice. Cecile is an absolute delight. Their ASMR streams are pure magic with soothing whispers and tantalizing triggers that will send you to dreamland. But wait, there's more. They also dabble in horror games, bringing a thrilling edge to their content. Don't miss out on this incredible VTuber. Have you ever done, like, horror ASMR? That would be really cool. I wonder what you would do. Be like, I don't know what you would do, actually. But you would have to, like... I think we've just made up a new niche. Like, immediately. Campfire horror. Oh, wait, that's so good. Like campfire scary stories? And then you could have, like, the campfire crackling? Wait, that is genius. You're so smart. You should do more of those. That sounds like it'd be really cool. And you could, like, read creepypastas. I have to go check it out. I have to go like you. I have to go follow. I feel big brain. Real. Follow. And your model looks so cute. I love blue models. And yours is like a light blue. So cute. So cute! Well, welcome in. My name is Nono Noelle. I'm the Grand Marshal of the Pop Cup Parade. We travel the world spreading hope and joy. On Wednesdays, we read Warrior Cats. So that's what we're up to today. We're reading Warrior Cats. We're on chapter 9. Oh, I just lost my spot. My bad. Oh, where was I? I clicked away. Oh, here we are. Reading Warrior Cats, we're on chapter 9. We just started the new series. Not the new series, but a new series from what we were doing. We've read 6, or we're on the 6. So we've read 5. I'm gonna keep reading. We're almost done reading. Maybe, I think. But I'm gonna keep reading. Thank you so much for the raid! I'll definitely go check out your cool campfire. The campfire scary stories is such a good idea. Oh my god. I have to go find one and listen. Where was I? They were just insulting what humans look like. Sandstorm's green eyes were gleaming with amusement. They're not sick, she explained. That's just what two legs look like. And they look pretty stupid, Elderpaw thought, his pelt smoothing out as he wondered why he had been scared of them at all. Suddenly, the smallest two-legged kit leaped up from the flat tree, letting out a loud yowl. To Alderpaw's horror, it set off a stumbling run towards the cats, waving its forepaws in the air. Its round face was red, and crazy sounds were coming from its mouth. It's seen us! Cherryfall gasped. At the same moment, Sandstorm snapped out a command. Don't run! We'll get separated. Hide! Forcing himself to move, Alderpaw darted back to the bramble thicket and thrust his way into it, feeling the thorns rake through his pelt. He could hear Sparkpaw's Sparkpaw burrowing close by. "Starglen forsaken thorns," she muttered. Mole Whisker's voice came from further away. "We should have known. Two Legs are always trouble." Alderpaw could hear the two-legged kit's voice rising to a shriek. Then the lower-pitched adult two-legged noises drew closer, and the ground shook with the trampling of their huge, clumsy paws. Alderpaw crouched as small as he could and hoped that all his clanmates were well hidden. "Thank you for the follow!" Or at least that's what I think. That's why they're dancing, but I can't be sure. It is! Thank you for the follow, Winter! I lost my spot again. I saw the little guys jumping. Alderpaw crouched as small as he could and hoped that all his clanmates were well hidden. Finally, the sounds died away and the footsteps retreated. Alderpaw worked his way backwards out of the thicket and stood shaking his pelt. He felt as if every thorn in the forest were sticking into him. Then he noticed that Sparkpaw had emerged and returned to the edge of the clearing to peer through the ferns again. "What do you think you're doing?" he hissed, creeping up to her side. "Do you want the two legs to catch you?" "It's okay, they're leaving," Sparkpaw replied. "Come and watch, it's really interesting." Curious in spite of himself, Alderpaw parted the fern fronds so that he could see. The three two-leg kits were climbing into the monster. The adult two legs were collecting the leaf wraps from the big flat tree trunk. Then they crossed the clearing and dropped them into a two-leg thing that looked like a rock with a tiny cave on top. "That's food," Sparkpaw whispered. "I can smell it, but why are they putting it there?" "Maybe that's where two legs store food," Alderpaw suggested. "I expect when they're hungry, they'll come back for it." "No." Alderpaw jumped to realize Sandstorm had padded up beside him. "That's just where two legs leave their extra food when they don't want it anymore." "How could they not want it?" Sparkpaw asked. "It smells amazing." Alderpaw tasted the air, and his jaws began to water as the delicious scent that flooded over him. He realized how hungry he was. "Two legs are very strange," Mole Whisker commented as he and Cherryfall padded up to join the others. Alderpaw watched as the two adult two legs also got into the monster with their kits. He started as the monster woke up with a furious roar, flooding the air with an acrid smell, then swerved around and moved off, its black paws moving faster and faster on the black thunderpath stuff until it disappeared among the trees. "Did the monster just eat them?" Sparkpaw asked, her eyes stretched wide with horror. Sandstorm shook her head. "No, the monsters just let two legs ride inside them. I don't even try to understand it." "I told you two legs were strange," Mole Whisker mewed. "And that goes for their monsters, too. Mind you," he added after a moment, "they may be strange, but some of their food is really tasty. I'm not too keen on two legs, but it would be mouse-brained to let their food go to waste when it's right there." He waved his tail at the open-topped rock. The Clats glanced at one another. "Thank you for the follow, Moulin!" "I'm not sure," Sandstorm murmured. "You know that warriors don't eat kitty pet food." "It's not kitty pet food," Cherryfall argued. "It's two-leg food." "Are they gonna get poisoned by onions?" "Well, okay," Sandstorm agreed reluctantly. "You see if you can get out of there. I'll keep watch." She stayed by the ferns at the edge of the clearing while Sparkpaw eagerly led the way over to the rock. Alderpaw looked up. There was shiny black stuff poking out of the cave at its top, and its sides were shiny silver with no paw holds. "How are we gonna get in?" Mole Whisker asked, sounding as if he didn't really expect an answer. "Hi!" Cherryfall tried climbing up, but her paws skidded on the smooth surface of the rock, and she slipped back before she got anywhere near the top. "House dung!" she exclaimed. "I've got an idea!" Sparkpaw's fur bristled and her tail bushed out with excitement. "Stand back, all of you!" She trotted back for several fox lengths, then raced and took a flying leap to the top of the rock, balancing precariously on the cave's edge. "Come down!" Cherryfall yowled. "You'll fall in, and how will we get you out?" "I'm fine," Sparkpaw squealed. She swayed to and fro as she gripped the top edge of the cave with her paws. The rock tilted with her weight and suddenly tipped over. Sparkpaw leaped to safety as the rock thumped to the ground and masses of two-leg stuff spilled out of it.
There you go.
Sparkpaw panted, a smug look on her face. Easy. Mollusker put his head into the cave, two-leg leaf wraps crackling under his paws, and he emerged with a lump of something in his jaws. Alderpaw breathed in more of the enticing smell. What is it? Dunno. Mollusker mumbled around his prey. Some kind of bird, I think. Go and get some. There's plenty. Chicken! They had a rosary chicken! Rosary? Rosary? Roastery? Sparkpaw instantly followed, dragging out a huge piece of the bird. This is so big it must have been an eagle, she meowed. I'll share it with Sandstorm. Alderpaw and then Cherryfall ventured in and collected some of the prey for themselves. Thanks, Sparkpaw, Alderpaw murmured as he joined the group from beside the ferns. You're really good at hunting two-leg prey, too. Biting into a piece of his fresh kill, Alderpaw realized it tasted even better than it smelled. But as he gulped it down, he began to feel a prickling in his pelt, as if some creature was watching him. He tried to tell himself not to be stupid, but he couldn't shake the feeling. A rustling sound came from the trees. Alderpaw tensed, glancing back over his shoulder. Maybe the crazy two-leg kid came back? Or maybe the two-legs weren't really done with their food after all? But the rustling died away, and there was nothing to be seen. Alderpaw tried to pick up a scent, but the aroma of the delicious two-legged prey swamped everything else. He turned back to finish his food, trying to tell himself that he was imagining things. It's weird. I just have the feeling that we're being watched. Dun dun dun! That's a good place to end. We're on chapter 10 now.
Very good progress.
Very exciting stuff happening. So it kind of seems like ever since the second series, there has been a quest in what's going on. Like they all leave at some point to go on some quest. In the after the prophecy, which was their main quest where they went to go find the lake territory. Then in Power of 3, they went to the mountains to teach them how to make clans or something. Teach them how to fight against cats. And Jay Feather was technically there to learn more about the mountain cats' past. And also technically, I guess, teach them how to be... He basically closed a time loop? Or was that in... No, that was in the first one. That was when they were paws. Yeah, they were paws then. Okay, so he didn't teach them how to time loop then, but he did later. He did when he was at the lake. Okay, so they did go there, but they were teaching the clans, or the tribe, how to, like, protect their borders and stuff. And then in Omen of the Stars, there was Dovewing's quest to go to the beaver area, and then Dawn of the Clans, the quest obviously to get to the forest territory, and now a Vision of Shadows where they're going to the quest to find Sky Clan. Interesting beat that they've decided to integrate into every single one of their series. I wonder if it does that for the next series too. But usually it only takes up the first book, or the first book and maybe some of the second book, but then they're just back in their own territory with nothing else. Alright. Let's find someone to raid. Oof. We can raid. You guys want something comfortable or something scary? Let's play this guy's thing. It's been a long time since I read this series. How far did you read into them? Do you remember? A lot of the people feel like say that they've read like some of the first series or like a random book in like the second series or something.
Slay. Everybody, hello.
Okay, let's raid Kazmi. Kazmi? Kazmi? He is... He?
Call me K. He doesn't have his pronouns. I don't see them, but I'm guessing he, him.
He's doing a subathon. It's the day one of his subathon.
He's playing some cute looking game. So we're gonna raid him because it looks comfy.
I was young and I think I went, ooh, that's impressive.
Raid. Easy me. Raid. I'm following so many people on Twitch and I don't know how I found them. But I'm glad that I have found them.
Yay! Oh, Dizzy's streaming. Oh, well. We've already picked. Tomorrow we have a stream collab with Dan and Saren. We're gonna play Gambling with Friends. I'm thinking that I might pretend I have a evil persona, you know, like a gritty old cowboy or something like that, just for fun. And then on Friday, I was gonna do Subnautica, but I might play that game that I was talking about earlier in the stream, the ramen shop one, just for like some chillingness.
But Subnautica's still very good. I think I also will start streaming on the weekends too. When I don't have to like clean and stuff.
So that's cool. We'll increase our stream days.
Since I don't see why I shouldn't, especially if I'm wanting to grow.
I have a goal now. I have a goal that I want to reach 35 concurrent viewers by the end of the year. I think that's a good number to aim for. That's like a healthy, good, sizable. Oh, you guys are gone. My bad. Bye, guys. Remember, see the good